break sweep, go, go, go. No shade, that's a no, no, no. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Break sweep, go, go, go. No shade, that's a no, no, no. No break sweep, go, go, go. No shade, that's a no, no, no. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Rush Racing League. This is going to be a very quick one because we only have 22 seconds to go before we do get on board with some racing. We are here at Division 3 at Portugal for Portugal. It is a one-shot, 100% race. I am your comms and host tonight, and I'm joined by the man in the Williams, known as XD Lamb, and we're going to jump straight into the paddock because they are just about to start. Look at those terrible conditions. Lamb, welcome to the comms box, my friend.
Thank you, SJ. Thank you for having me for tonight. Here in Div 3, it's pouring conditions in this one shot at the moment.
It is indeed, mate. And we are going to see a few of these guys. We've got 3 guys currently on the intermediates and the rest of the pack on the wets. Terrence at the moment leading the way. This is going to be a long race in these conditions. It's going to be very interesting on who is going to take pole position. Are we going to have another winner? Or are we going to have the domination that we have seen from Plugger in the last few weeks? Or are the Williams, your team, going to pull in that gap? Because we know that Dido has been very, very impressive in the last few weeks. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts, I reckon we're going to have a familiar name on the top at the pole for this quali. For the race, I reckon we're going to have a completely new winner. Not even we predicted it.
Yes, it is going to be very interesting to see how we go here tonight. But we'll have to wait and see. Long night ahead. 66 laps of this circuit. We don't know if it's going to be in the dries. Ooh, as we see there, Legham losing the back end. We are going to go further up to the top. Is this Div 1 driver Lamb on second comms? No, this is Lamb. Well, yeah, you could say that. Yes, it is. It is Lamb. Lamb is on comms. I'm just trying to get to the last one, but I can't get through because it's like musical statues at the moment, or musical drivers. Dido is leading the way in P1, coming to the final corner in these pouring conditions at Portimao. With Matif, he's in P2. He doesn't get the pole position, but Dido does with 1:28.608, and then it's disappeared very, very quickly. Sutsy's been disqualified. There's probably a few disqualifications, a few incidents there in these wet conditions, as this is the first time we have seen wet conditions at Portimao.
Like none of, as far as I was aware, none of the other divs had any sort of rain. So this is definitely going to be a shock to all of the drivers out there. They wouldn't have had anything to go to base off their laps from.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to go into the race to see what conditions we are going to deal with, which is going to be really good to see. Bro, I just turn on and I've got 2 more. I don't know what that you mean. 2 more what? 2 more what? Hey, don't tell me what you mean, mate. It's gone very quick tonight. I've got no idea who got who P2 or P3, so have to give me Rain and Div 2 in one shot. Oh, there you go. Well, we've got dry. A race looking likely to begin with. But is it going to be racing? Is it going to be raining in the race later on? We'll have to wait and see if there's going to be any inside information from the comms box, and I'm sure that you'll be looking out for that information if that comes to tuition. But how do you feel it's going to go tonight? We've seen a lot of DRS trains. We've seen a lot of patience. We've seen P1 and P2 gap the field pretty quick. What are you feeling like you're going to see tonight, Lam?
Well, so far, based off just the clouds alone, it does look a bit cloudy. We might actually get a bit of rain in this race tonight, SJ. Also, like I said earlier, I reckon we're definitely going to see a bit of a gap form. I'll say P7 and up gap. And like I said earlier, I reckon we're going to see a complete new winner standing on top of the podium tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We're just waiting for those players, getting those setups on, getting ready for some action tonight. Division 3, round number 6. We're coming very, very close to the end before we have a break. So, Lamb, take it away for the first time this season.
as it's with the lights out and away we go. Dino gets off to a great start with Whiff following behind. The Merc and Alpine of Terrence and Angus go side by side through turn 1, seem to get through cleanly. So far, no contact from what I've seen. Very good start from the Div 3 boys tonight.
Yeah, great start there. Angus into P2. A little bit of arrows moving down the pack at the moment. We'll have to wait and see as we've got yellows flashing. We've got Legham. He's made a mistake. Daniel T down there in P16. So Legham has gone all the way back. We've got Arcade Gaming there as well. We've got Marzi. That looks like he's got a drive through there already. So that's going to hurt the McLaren team there. Whiff has dropped down into P4. You're probably wondering why we've only got 17 drivers. Unfortunately, the other ones that did not show. Which is very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate tonight, but it is what it is. So we've got a small little grid, but only 2 drivers away from not scoring points, and the rest will score points. But we've got another nice little battle going on the back there. Trio Kiv going up against Daniel T. Daniel T now making his way up into P14, going up to the top. Dido leading the way at 1.2 seconds to Angus. The 2 Mercedes very, very close together. The 2 Kicks very, very close together. And then we've got Terrence in the new Alpine who goes very close to the Kick Sauber of Sebi. Goes around the outside. We've got battles happening already, Lam. Is it too soon to say? Or are we going to have one hell of a race on our hands as Plugger does make his way past Angus and Terrence does make his way past Sebi?
It's never too early to say we're going to have a great race, SJ. But so far, Dito's pulled away. He's on the sauce along with Plugger and Angus, obviously not looking to get dropped, which they have. And then you have the 2 Kicks, both on mediums, looking to go long, which I believe their Div 4 driver did. Went long, about 40 laps, then pit to softs and took off. So we see Sebi getting the move back on Terrence in the Alpine. And we see Flight looking to make that same move, side by side. Flight gets it done in the McLaren.
Good job there. We've also got the 2 Ferraris going at it as well. Velocity Echo lets his teammate through of Hennessy. There you go. Through. There goes the Ferraris. Different driver tonight in the Ferrari of Velocity Echo. It'll be very interesting to see how he's done. He's had a couple of goes in the reserve program. This is where it means business now. This is where he's got a massive opportunity to score big points for Ferrari. He's right behind his teammate. Both on the same strategy, on those soft compound tyres. We've got Sutsi as well, reserving for another car. I think this guy's reserved for 3 or 4 different teams already in the season. So, and still not having that full-time seat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. As Hennessy does get in front of Terrence, and Terrence looks like he's going to lose out to Velocity Echo as well. Looks like it's going to be a double here, as Terrence looks like he's going to make a move on the left-hand side of the Ferrari there. Doesn't stay in, makes the move, stays in behind, and stays in that P10. Oh, goes around the side-by-side, a little bit side-by-side action there. The Ferrari and the Alpine going at it. Suts then goes into the right-hand side and makes the move count. He gets pushed off wide though. Little bit of battling already. We'd love to see lap 3 out of 66. And the Red Bull comes onto the left-hand side, going into that lovely corner where you can make overtakes. He's got it all wrong. Going to lose that position to the Ferrari. And you've also got a battle going on here between Daniel T and Terrence. Daniel T up in the P11. He's going to P15 to P11 in 3 laps. So the Williams driver of Daniel T on your team, definitely showing what he's capable of, but Dido's still leading the way out in front with around about 4.5 tenths. Back to you now.
Daniel's obviously showing that he doesn't want to sit around and wait for all these other guys to get a move on. Look, as he goes to the move on the Red Bull up into P10, can he hold it around the outside? I think he can. It's going to be close. They're still side by side. He's through. He's not giving up. He is on a charge tonight. But as you said before, Dido has dropped back into the DRS of Plugger, as Plugger still opts to sit behind him for the moment. As Dido goes wide, looks to be making a little bit of contact up the front here, as Dido falls back into P2, into the next DRS zone.
Yeah, great battle at the moment between the Mercedes and the Williams. Yellows at the back there. We've got Daniel T. He's made a mistake. Has he collided with one of the guys at the back? Zoo now into P14. Daniel T into P15. He's going to still battle. Long way to go in this race. Lap 4 out of 66. Long way to go in this race. Arcade Gaming now into P13. Didn't see that, so don't know what's happened there. Looking to see if there's any damage to that Williams. Could be internally. We'll have to wait and see there. But nothing at the moment. But it looks like we are going to have a 3-horse race at the moment between Plugger, Dido and Angus. And Whiff and Boltzeroo, as we did say earlier, Lam, on the same strategy. Hennessy getting a 3-second time penalty on lap 4 very early there. But Whiff and Boltzeroo will be ones to watch out for because they will be able to go the longest in on those tyres currently.
Yes, and I reckon, personally, I think that is the better option here. Go long, and then when you have the lighter fuel load, jump onto those soft tyres so you can really take off out the corners, get the nice, good cornering speed. This Velocity Echo sets the fastest up of the race so far. And so far, no one has changed for the lead. Sebi now picks up a 3-second time penalty on lap 5 out of 66.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. We've seen as well them softs being extremely powerful in the closing stages of this race, just in case there is a safety car. We know how many laps that these guys can do, so we're probably going to look to see Whiff and Bolts and the other medium runners around about that 40 lap mark, and probably see them softs coming in around about that 20. So it's going to be very interesting to see on how that strategy is going to work moving forward, going into of this race. But there's still a long way to go, and we've already had incidents happening already. The thing is the gaps. We've got a 1.6 second gap from P6 to P1 already.
And that's almost where I predicted. I predicted it'd be somewhere around the P7, P8 range, which I was so close, but yet so far off. But obviously, yeah, as Bolt has almost dropped out DRS, still gets it though, but Dito jumps into the lead, going into turn number 1, like a seats position with Angus still right behind him. Bolt's, again, he's almost out of the DRS. He needs to find a little bit more pace here if he wishes to keep up and stay in this front pack.
Yeah, you do not want to be losing the DRS very early on. There's a little bit of an overcast at the moment. We're not getting information. We're going to ask a little bit later on in the race that if we are going to see some rain. Bowles is going to have to want to stay with Whiff. That is going to be the plan. The kick's doing a very, very good job there. We've seen Boltzeroo has got some serious pace. We saw it very early on in the season when he was reserving, and now he's got the opportunity in a new team, which he's comfortable in. And to work with his TP and his teammate in front. We've seen Whiff has been very, very quick this season. Definitely one to watch out for that championship battle against Plugger and Dido at the moment. But yeah, currently staying in that 6.5 10th gap, but he's dropped Sebi. And Sebi's in a really good position for Racing Bulls tonight. He's 6, 1.4 seconds in front of Velocity, probably the highest he's finished this season. But a very consistent performance so far from the two Ferraris in P7 and P8. You can't underestimate Sutsi or Shifty Flight as well. There's still early days to say, but if you're looking at between everyone at the moment, there's only 10 seconds between P12 and P1. So there's hardly anything in it. And the safety cars, we know that comes out, that changes the whole dynamics of this race very, very quickly.
Yeah, the safety cars really do change the dynamics here, especially depending on when they come out. They can either help you out or completely ruin your race. For example, these soft runners up the front, safety car comes out around lap 20, they're sitting pretty. That's their optimal pit window, but if it comes around lap 40 for when these medium tyres runners want to pit in, then they're sitting pretty, as they are going to have the best sauce, free pit stop, life's golden. Yeah, as you were saying, Sebi not doing really well up here in V-Carb for tonight. He's still dropping back a little bit from that front pack. That'd probably be due to not having DRS. But hopefully once Echo catches up to him, they could work together and maybe connect back up with the front running pack, and we might be able to see a surprise win from Sebi.
Yeah, definitely. And you've answered your question there, Dante. Lamb is sitting pretty. He's sitting pretty with the... in the comms box with the GOAT, apparently, I've been called, but I'm not going to chance my own horse there. But no, he's enjoying himself, and it's good to have him on board tonight. As we are going to see a move going on from Hennessy, who has been requested and on board, and we are going to jump on board with Zoo for a second for his on board. But Hennessy up into P8. And first of all, before we do go on to Zoo, are you comfortable in the comms box at the moment there, Lamb?
Yep, I'm definitely sitting pretty here, Dante. Don't you worry.
Aircon's on. He's got the hot chocolate ready. Let's go. uh, jump on board for Zoo for an onboard. Still early days, isn't it, though? You know, there's only 7, like the top 5 all in a battle. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if Sebi can bring that 2.2 gap down. Does have that penalty. So how long is it going to take before Velocity Echo starts to pick up some pace, you know, and then start to try and push on and get into that DRS? Because we've seen before this week that a lot of these guys, they get in with the DRS, but they then start to bring the other guys into it as well from back. So I reckon we could see Sutsy, Shifty, and maybe Hennessy and Velocity involved in that top 5 battle in closing stages of this race or later on. It's still early to tell at the moment. On lap 9 out of 66, we've still got plenty of laps to go. Weather not looking too shabby at the moment as Plugger does take the lead again past Dido. So those guys will just use each other with the DRS. But at the moment, it's a full 5-horse race for that big on position.
Yeah, it is. And currently, I believe the soft tyres will start to go off round about now, and if not in the next few laps. Zoo picks up a 3-second time penalty for his interpretation of track limit. Seems to have picked himself up a bit of end plate damage. I'm not sure when that's happened. Probably will get ticketed, but anyway, back to the top. Like I was saying, soft tyres will probably start going off round about now. And we'll see whiff and bolts on those mediums start raring into life, start getting a bit aggressive with these front runners before they pit and looking to take off from them.
I think I've just seen RK Gaming go off the track there. I've seen RK make a mistake there, and I've also seen Zoo have a little bit of an incident with Terrence. So there's a lot of battle going on there, and I'm also seeing no front plate on RK Gaming's car on the front right, and none on Zoo's front right either. So their turning ability, stability is going to be pretty bad when those tyres really start to go off. So it'd be very interesting to see if they can push them, stay within the DRS, and then go into the pits. They do not want to lose that DRS and then go into the pits. They want to, you know, try and capitalise as much as they can. As we can see here, RK Gaming has lost that DRS, so not probably wanting to go into the pits early, but unfortunately he's going to have to change that front wing. Marzi has been very unfortunate in this race currently, as someone's had a spin, and I think that looks, and that's a safety car. Someone's lost it, and that's Daniel T. He had a spin earlier on in the Williams, and he's done it again. And we have a safety car on lap 10 at a 66. There you go. Safety car is out, Lamb. And it's your fellow driver, Daniel T. So there's been an incident there between maybe him and Terrence. We'll have to wait and see as there's an investigation going on. But we've got a safety car on lap 10 out of 66, Lamb.
Yeah, this definitely shakes up all the dynamics here tonight. As now, it really doesn't benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit the soft runners at all. Not really anyway. It doesn't benefit the mediums as they didn't get to bring in their lasting tyre life into this. So I reckon this has probably just turned this race from a 1-stop to a 2-stop. But overall, let's see. I don't reckon we might see a few double stacks here from the Merc and Kicks. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. Are we going to see those hard compound tyres on? Are we going to see them push to the end? A lot of people are saying keep away from those hards, but they will go a long duration of this race, and then you can get onto them softs at the end there, and then that's it. Boom, done. Probably could go to the end now on those soft compound tyres. They'll probably push 40 laps, maybe 50. I know the mediums will do 45. So that takes you to 45, so that takes you to 56. Yeah, the hards will go to the end, and there you go. There's your first person that's made the decision. Sutsy has decided to go on those hards. The question is he going to have the pace? Is he going to have the pace? We've seen a lot of people make pit stops. Sebi obviously getting that penalty. This brings Marzi back into it after obviously the start that he had with that drive-through. You've still got the top 3 that have still not decided to pit. So Trio Kev is up there now on those softs. I reckon he's got around about, I'd say he's got 10 more laps. I think he's got 10 more laps and then they're gone, them softs, because he's going to have 2 laps under the safety. That's going to save his tyres, add another 2 onto that. That pushes him to, yeah, he'll probably get another 10, and then he'll want to hit 20 and then go on to the next strategy as well. So a lot of these guys still continuing to go. It's interesting to see. We saw both Mercedes double stacking. Angus now going down into P5. Plugger, who was leading, down into P9. Dido actually getting out there into P4. So currently, he is the leader as it stands. And Angus, he's 1, 2, 3, 4. So Plugger's lost 4 positions to Dido, who was racing with tonight, basically competing against. So big decision there for Mercedes, but it could work out. It may not. We saw last week, didn't we? We saw a couple of weeks back that they tried and tried and tried, and the safety car came at the wrong time, and Plugger just didn't have it in him at the end and got that 3 seconds, and yeah, probably kicked himself. He didn't get a podium from last week.
Yeah, but yeah, he'd definitely be not too happy that he didn't get the podium last week. Definitely going to be looking for redemption this week and tonight, though. But something I've picked up on is that both Mercs have gone to the mediums, filling out their mandatory tyre allocation, while Dido's gone to another set of softs. So Dido's planning to do another stop here tonight. The Mercs, I reckon they'd be 50-50, because we've seen the mediums do 45, 46 laps, give or take, in Div 4. And we're on lap 12 at the moment, so there'd be like almost an extra 10 laps. You could probably take the mediums an extra 10 laps from 44, 45. So I definitely reckon the Mercs will be going to the end. It's just a question of, will Dido be able to pull a big enough gap to the point where he does pit to mediums to be able to catch back up to the Merc?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the Mercedes are now going to have to get through traffic, and that's obviously that's difficult here. We've seen that. You can follow the DRS train for a long period of time and not make any places, you know. So that's going to be very interesting to see. He's got Sebi on fresh. He's got Velocity to get through, Bolts to get through, Angus to get through, and also then Dido. The top 3 is going to be very interesting as we do see the safety car coming in now. The question is, has Dido gone on the wrong strategy? From a Williams point of view, he's gone on the fast tyres, and then he's looking likely probably to run the medium tyres. Now, the Mercedes will go onto the mediums, and then probably use the softs as the quicker tyres at the end. That could be the difference here in this race. Has he gone on the wrong strategy? From your point of view, what's your thoughts to that, Matt?
I didn't really put a lot of thought into this, but now I'm thinking about it. He might have, as generally I do think the better strategy here is to start on medium. And 10 laps in, that doesn't particularly change too much. I still think you'd prefer to be on the mediums at this point, especially considering he started on softs. You really get that option on if do you take the mediums to the end, or do you pit again? As we see, the restarts go off perfectly. So far, no one got caught napping apart from Angus a little bit, 6/10 gap. But Whiff, followed by Flight, followed by Trio Kev. Oh, Dido's already making the move into turn 3, gets it done. What a move.
Very, very close to the rear of the McLaren. Could have lost his front wing before he even started the safety car restart. So a little bit eager on the throttle there. Their softs are very, very quick. We're seeing a yellow at the back there. It looks like Terence has lost it on those hards. They are going to take a little bit of time to warm up. We've got Legham in P12. We've got a lot going on here. We've got battles going on. Here we go. We've got Legham on the right. We've got Hennessy behind. Hennessy's going to go around the outside. This uphill part, you really do need to time this, because if you get one bit of contact, it's an incident, and there's an incident there. We've got cars all over the place. There's 4 going wide up the hill, over the hill, and there we go. A little bit of damage there. So I think the onboard will be looking at that. There's an incident there between, looked like Legham and Hennessy, as this instant debris fall off. But is that Arcade Gaming's car again? No, it's not. Who has lost the front wing or plate of their car at the moment? I'm just trying to keep an eye out. It's not Hennessy. Could it be Sebi? Nope, it's not Sebi.
I don't think so.
Who has lost their front? There you go. There's the investigation. DRS is enabled. So a lot of battles already going into it, but they don't want to battle too much, because now is a 1.4 second gap between Suts and the leader of Whiff. Everyone has got a massive opportunity to get back into this race, as we're seeing Bolts and Velocity go at it side by side. Bolts makes a little bit of a mistake there, and I think Velocity's going to come to him on the left-hand side. He's got a better exit. Plugger's going to go for a move as well. as Plugger goes round the outside. No, it's not. Sorry, that looks like that was Angus. That's Angus. Sorry, my apologies. Plugger trying to get through. He needs to be very careful, very cautious of what Trio Kev is doing, because Trio Kev has dropped like a stone from the top to the bottom, being on those 13 lap softs, and Plugger is trying to get past. And remember, the more he holds him up, the worse it is for Plugger. Trio Kev going around the outside. Plugger going, get the move done. Up to P7. Good job there from Plugger. Velocity up to P6. Bolts into P5. Angus into P4. And Angus is now pushing on. Dido has pushed out a second already. And he is going to try and mow as much as he can on them soft compound tyres, because he knows they're a quick tyre and they'll be able to push on, because the guys behind him are on old tyres now.
Yeah, definitely going to be a struggle for the cars on the older tyres now, as they just sneak DRS onto Dito and one another. As we see Plugger getting... Oh yeah, he already got the move done, didn't he? But Plugger still working his way, trying to keep within the DRS now. Definitely getting held up by Trio Kev. Held him up a good chunk, but it seems to be all right now. As Bolts has dropped from DRS of the cars in front. As we see a car pitting, that's Daniel T, I believe, getting a wing change. That must be where our damage came from earlier.
Yeah, it's been an interesting night for Daniel T. We know he's got the pace. He's been so consistent the last few weeks. Podium. Tonight, not gone the plan, but it's not all over. Do not get demoralised. I know it's you're 29 seconds away, but anything can happen. We've seen a safety. We've seen things. Marzi getting a 3-second time penalty. He's not going to be happy with that. I don't think he's a fan of Portugal, so he's probably just want to get this over and done with. We've seen no Josh here tonight. He hates this track, and that's probably the reasons why. We've seen a few penalties going on at the moment, but the leader is Dido. He's 9.5 tenths out in front, so Whip is staying with him, using that DRS to try and break away from Shifty Flight, who is 1.5 seconds behind, who is now going to come under pressure from Whiff's teammate Boltaru, who will look to get the move done, gets the fastest lap into P3, and we've got a double podium at the moment for Kick Sauber. Great result for them so far, so good if it stays how it is. Did they fix his wing? Not sure. Shifty mate, I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look there. But Velocity Echo doing a really good job on debut tonight in that Ferrari up in the P5. 9.5 tenths behind Shifty. But he's got two very, very quick and hungry Mercedes right behind him.
Yeah, as the Ferrari seems to go a little wide on the exit of the hairpin. Maybe that fight between the Mercs is going side by side. Or as Angus just about gets the move done, they're going to be looking to push on onto the back of Shifty Flight to get that DRS. Hopefully they can get it just before. Oh, it's a bit of a wiggle from the Ferrari.
A speed wobble, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of a speed wobble. Portugal is definitely a tricky track. I had a few wobble everywhere, and probably every corner at least 3 times over in Div 2. So it honestly could just be the track. Hopefully it is. They don't seem to be in the DRS at the moment. Definitely the cars in front of seem to still have the pace in those older tyres.
Use the toe now for the Mercedes, and Plugger will probably get the move done. Use the toe off Velocity to get the job done. Does he get the job done? No, he doesn't. Gets the job done on his teammate. Velocity stays out in their P5 position at the moment, and Plugger is losing time to Dido at the moment. He is in the mix of this, but this is not helping him. Unless Velocity brings that gap down to Shifty Flight, then it will help. But at the moment, it's as he goes for the move on the outside, keeps it nice and tight. And Plugger and Velocity are still going to go side by side. It's Ferrari versus Merc. Is he going to get it? Yeah, he stays in position. Good driving there from Velocity. Good driving from Plugger. Plugger now into P5. He is the one to watch out for in this championship currently. He's leading it, but his man at the moment that's been battling and has closed this gap down in the championship is Dido. And we're having a nice little battle between Dido and Plugger. And it's funny to say, Plugger was driving for Dido last season, and now he's driving for the complete opposite. So a little bit of a rivalry between the CP and ex-driver as well, which is always good to see. But out in front, with Matif doing a phenomenal job, has lost that gap though. So he's going to come under pressure from his teammate. And I reckon Boltaru will get this job done very, very quick. There'll be a little bit of team orders here because he is on 6 laps soft. So he'll be wanting to push on and try and catch up to Dido. Now, What do the Kicksabber do? They've got Plugger behind. Does Whiff try and hold Plugger up as much as he can to let Boltsaru get a little bit of a gap on? Or are they just going to just use each other and try and push themselves through the DRS onto Dido? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Whiff's tyres are probably a little bit too old compared to the softs. So I would believe that Whiff tries and holds up the Mercedes as much as he can. But the Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren and the other Mercedes, they're all in a nice little DRS battle.
Yeah, Plugger, Velocity, and Shifty Flight all had a nice little battle into turn 1, where Flight got dual overtaken by the Merc and the Ferraris. Daniel T picks up a 3-second now. Angus looking to make the move, goes for the send. Can he get it done? Or I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact there. I don't think so. Couldn't get the move done. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about Whiff and Bolt, I do think that as long as Whiff can stay in the DRS, they'll try a DRS swap. But until Whiff gets dropped from the DRS, then at that point it might be time for Whiff to drop back and try and hold up Plugger as much as possible for Bolt.
Yeah, as we've seen here, that Shifty Flight has lost the DRS on the guys in front, which is very unfortunate. So he's going to come under extreme pressure, and there you go. So fighting that little position there as Angus does get through. Cherokee gets a 10-second speed in the pit lane. That's unfortunate. Slow down, mate. Keep it slow. Plugger still can't get past Echo. He's trying. Nice little battle going on between the Ferrari and the Merc. Good to see. Just going to look at the pace difference between the two. Yeah, Echo's quicker. It's quicker by a 10th at the moment. So Plugger could have his work cut out here.
Yeah, but that 10th could easily be made up in the DRS though. So depending on which one's the car behind, they could be on the faster laps, on the faster pace, purely because of DRS. We generally don't know. But as Angus, I believe, got past Flight earlier, seems to be struggling to keep it within DRS of Plugger. Do we see Plugger lifting, letting Angus into DRS here, helping him out, defending from the McLaren? It doesn't look like it, but I believe Angus is going to get it anyway. Yes, he does.
I think we need to keep an eye on that gap between Plugger and Echo, as Plugger does look like to go for the move and Echo does let him pass, so they're probably working together. We'll have to wait and see, get a little bit closer to that, to the closing stages or halfway through this race. No problem, Toodle. As we're seeing Plugger, you know, and obviously Echo in the DRS working together, 65% against Plugger's 51. Remember, 2.5 seconds to Whiff, so keep an eye out on that gap. If we start to see that drop, then we know that these two are working with each other. But also, you've got Angus in the pipeline as well, who's had a fantastic season so far in the Merc. Doing a really good job. Very consistent, very close to his teammate at the moment. And we can't underestimate Sutsi. Sutsi's sitting in that P8 position. He's on those hard compound tyres, 5 seconds away from Shifty Flight. He's got Zoo right behind him. He's got a little bit of a chain of cars behind him, but he's still sitting in a good place. No pens, and he's on probably the better tyre closing stages of this race, and he will be able to go a long distance. We will start to see some of those tyres start to fall off, especially Whiffs. He's now on 19 laps on those mediums, still can do quite a lot. But will we see Sutsi start to pick it up? Keep an eye out on his pace at 6.1 seconds behind Shifty Flight at the moment. Boltsaru, though, has gained dramatically on Dido. He's only 1.8 seconds in front. So Dido has had his limelight at the moment in that Williams, and it's now becoming very, very close to an end because Boltsaru is bolting. Don't you like the pun?
The pun was amazing, SJ.
Thank
10
you.
out of 10.
Thank you, thank you. They did fix Daniel's wing, Yuki. Just letting you know that, mate. So yeah, but he's not had the best of nights, but it's still early days. Still early days. Do not get demoralised. You're in the points. Cherokee's in the points. You know, Sebi, you've pit. So it's a long, long race, and we are seeing a lot of changes happening left, right, and centre. We saw Plugger lead the way at the beginning. We saw Dido lead the way at the beginning. We've now seen Plugger in the 5th, Dido in the 1st. You know, so things are changing. Great job from the Kicksabers at the moment. They've done phenomenal. They've had a very interesting start to the season. There's been a lot of commotion about them But tonight, definitely showing what they're capable of. And Whiff has probably been one of the biggest surprises of the season, how much he has improved as a driver and is doing a phenomenal job. And he's on 20 lap mediums compared to Boltsaru's 10, and he's sticking with them. So it's really good to see. That just tells you how powerful the DRS is here. If you stay within it, then you've got a massive opportunity to just push on as much as you can. As we're seeing Plugger go past Velocity Echo again. 3 seconds though. They're not gaining on Whiff. It was 2.5. They've actually lost 5/10. They're not gaining on him at the moment. What do you think's the problem going on between Plugger and Echo not gaining on Whiff?
I'm honestly, at this point, I'm not too sure because they seem to be DRS swapping pretty efficiently. Maybe it's their battery. Maybe they're not burning enough to be able to hold up. Not hold up, but to drag the other along. Like, for example, Plugger at the moment should be not saving, but probably be around that 50% mark, just trying to drag the train forward whilst he's in the lead. That way, when Velocity comes back up, Plugger can save when Velocity goes for the overtake, then Velocity can turn his battery back on. He can drag Plugger and Co along, rinse and repeat throughout the rest of the laps. But they don't seem to be gaining on the kicks at the moment with what they're currently doing.
No, they're not. They're actually not. They're actually losing in all a bit of time, which is not helping their race at all. He's 2.8 seconds behind Boltsaru at the moment. Boltsaru will now probably make the move past Whiff. No, he won't. He'll actually stay behind him on this one and then probably use the next DRS. And Whiff doesn't want to hold Boltsaru up because if he holds him up a bit too much, that's when then you're going to see that gain from Plugger because he's right behind and Echo is actually just got in front of him again in 4. So 2.6. It was about 2.5, that's where it's been at the moment, but then it keeps going up to around about 2.9 and then up to 3 seconds. So, yeah, the kick salvers really need to time this well. If there's any slight hold up from Whiff, then we know that there's going to be a big gain from the Ferrari because they're only 2.6 seconds down the road and they're on a lot more fresher tyres than with Latifi at the moment. So, Whiff needs to try and maintain that gap to Dido. And Bolts is also just going to use him with the DRS and just continue to manage that as much as they can. But as soon as that gap starts to fall, then obviously they're going to have to make changes. But at the moment, if you have tuned in with us, we'll give you a bit of a heads up on who the grid is, which I'll let Lamb take it away. So from P1 all the way down to P17, over to you, Lamb.
So far in the lead, we have Dido on the 12-lap-old soft compound tyres driving the Williams as the TP. So far, he seems to be killing it. He seems to be pulling away from our 2 kicks in P2 and P3 as they seem to swap in the DRS. Bolt's taking over as the lead kick. From Whiff down to P4, we've got Plugger in the Merc, followed by Velocity Echo in the Ferrari, followed by Plugger's teammate Angus again in the Merc. He seems to be sitting real pretty at the moment, saving his battery, just waiting and waiting for the right time. Then we have Shifty Fly in the McLaren on just about as old tyres as Whiff on those 23-lap-old medium. Followed then by one of our reserves for tonight, Sutsi, with 13-lap-old hards in the Red Bull, followed by Zoo on 13-lap-old softs, followed by Arcade in the Red Bull on these mediums, followed by Hennessy in the Ferrari. So far, the Ferrari seem to be doing quite well tonight. They were paired up one, P7, P8 earlier on. Hopefully, Hennessy can bring it up so we can see them together again. Then we've got Legham in our only Haas for tonight. They could not find another driver, so thankfully Legham is there. He seems to have a little bit of damage on the front right end plate. So that seems to be missing. Next up, we have Marzi in the McLaren. He's a fair way back. Hopefully, we can see a little bit of a late charge from him. Next up, we've got Trio Kevin P14, followed by Daniel in the Williams in P15, who's absolutely pounding him to get a move on. They're both on medium tyres, relatively the same lap age. Daniel just looking to get the move done, but we have Trikev there. Next up is Sebi, his teammate in the other V-Carb, running P16 out of the points at the moment, but I reckon he'll be able to bring it back in. Then last but certainly not least, we have our solo, our singular Alpine in Terrence in P17.
Awesome, thank you very much, Lamb. I'm just seeing there when you're going through some of those drivers losing a little bit of their front plates. Just looking on board here, Sebi's lost the front left. Looking on board of Trio Kev at the moment, as Daniel T does get out in front. He's got all of his plate full, which is good. Marzi looks to be missing the front left as well. Legham missing the front left. So some of these guys not making the changes to change their front wing, which is making it very difficult for these guys, as we're seeing Arcade does have a full front wing. But we're going to go back up to the top, as we're seeing another change there from the Kick Saubers in P2 and P3. Plugger, though, has made some gains. He's now 2 seconds behind with Matif. It was 2.8 behind. So you can definitely tell now the DRS swapping between Plugger and Velocity has now brought them in to the gap of with Matif as RK gets another penalty. So from P9 down to P16, all have penalties. Big points still up for grabs in P9 all the way down into P15 there. So could be a bit of a change to see there. There's a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and a 10, and then a 3. So interesting to see. Satsi 4.4 behind Shifty Flight, and he's gaining. So those hards starting to really get into temp now, and I reckon we are going to see a big charge from Satsi in that Red Bull. But looking at this now, he's underfueled. So keep an eye out on that fuel gauge. Just going to see anyone else that's underfueled. Nope, he's the only one at the moment, and he's on those hard compound tyres, but he is dropping that time. It went from 4.5 to 4 seconds. So he is gaining on Shifty Flight, even though he is on 25 laps, but he is gaining on those 15 lap hards. So we'll see a change there again, as we do see Plugger and Velocity make a change again. But keep an eye on that gap. It's 1.9 at the moment. Boltsaru in P3, with Petit in P2, and Dido out at the moment in the fresh air, enjoying himself on them soft compound tyres, 2.9. And the question is as well, from your point of view, from a Williams driver, he's not using much grip, and wear, because he's not fighting against anyone. So he's gonna have something in the tank there, and those tyres aren't gonna be as bad as probably, I would say, Zoos or Velocities or Pluggers, because they're still in a battle. Dido is in fresh air at the moment, so he's got no one to battle. So he's in good position at the moment, man.
Yes, he is, and like you were saying, he's saving on tyre wear by not having anyone to fight. But also a good way to save tyre wear is to not be pushing flat out all the time, which I don't think Dido is doing, which is good, because that means that for the drivers like Whiff and Bolts who are trying to work together, trying to drive flat out to catch back up, they're definitely going to be burning a lot more of their tyre wear and their grip trying to catch up. As what we've seen earlier, from what I've picked up with, they were about 2 seconds away from a Dido a few laps ago. Now they're 3.3 as they're trying to DRS swap. Maybe the Kick's tyres have gone off from not trying to fight each other, but from trying to push on and catch up to Dido. And now it's also letting in the drivers behind of Plug, Velocity, and Angus, as now they're almost within a second.
Yeah, it's getting interesting as well. It's getting very interesting as Satsi has got past. He's actually 11 seconds behind Angus. Has he made a mistake? Or has he just made a position that he has got a big gap? So I think he has. I think he's made another position. I think it was P8 before, he's now P7. So Satsi making up time, and I think is one to watch out for, especially because he's the only guy on those hard compound tyres. And you've got to try, haven't you? No one's really tried the hard tyres here this weekend, and he's trying it. And he knows they can go to the end. Probably some of these guys also probably know that they can try and go to the end on some of those tyres. But them softs are definitely going to have to go again. So it's going to be interesting to see of where they fall out, because at the moment the gap is still increasing from Bolts to Dido. It's now 4 seconds. So Dido is in some really fresh air. But now we are now starting to see Plugger, Velocity, and Angus all start to join the pack at the back of these Kick Saubers. Now the question must be, will Whiff fight this, or will Velocity try and get in front of Plugger and then try and get in front of the Kicks and then hold him up as someone's gone very wide there, and that is Seti, so good to see there, well done. But while that's going on, as we're probably going to have a little bit of action going on now, so here we go, we've got Plugger going on the left-hand side of Boltzaroo, who is actually on the quicker tyre, and he's nearly hit his teammate there. He's getting it all wrong, and it's an interesting situation to be, because you'd want Bolts in front of Whiff and Whiff behind Bolts. You wouldn't want him in behind, because he's going to put himself under extreme pressure. He's now going to have to fight a little bit on those fresher tyres compared to Whiff. So, in the position at the moment that the Kick-Sabers are in, they probably don't want to be in this position, as we see someone go off the track. A little bit of drama there, as it looks like someone else has lost the front wing, and it's Hennessy's lost the left front plate. But Churkev getting a penalty, very unfortunate there. But we are coming up to lap 30. We are going to have 36 laps of racing remaining. Still a long way to go. But at the moment, I think Boltzaroo is in the wrong position. And I think he'll be a little bit angry about this, because he doesn't really want to be fighting Plugger, because they're on the same tyre health at the moment, but apart from different tyres now.
Yeah, but at the moment, I believe the optimal time to pit from softs is about 23, 24 laps, give or take. And Boltzaroo's definitely going to be coming up on to that threshold, as he's only on 19 laps, so about 4 or 5 laps we might be seeing him pit. Whilst with... Oh, Zleckham's retired. Is that in the pit lane? Yeah. I believe that is in the pit lane.
Yeah, that's silly.
He has called it a night.
Silly. He was in lap 13, in points, didn't need to retire, and dropped all the way down. No, that's a silly manoeuvre. That's silly. That's Haydo, you need to be talking to your drivers, mate. Lap 30, retiring. Yeah, no. Not a good thing to do there. Not good to see, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Obviously called it. I don't know if that's internal damage. I'm not sure, but if it's not, it's interesting to see, because could have scored Haas good points there, especially being the only car on the track, and Haas getting no points this week in Division 3, Lamb.
None, as Zleckham was the solo Haas in tonight's race.
Right, I'm going to interrupt you very, very quickly, because Velocity's got a massive opportunity to get past both Kicks and get in front of Plugger. And this is massive for the Ferrari, as he does. Great job there. Keeps it on track, keeps it within track limits. He's in front, he's into P2. He can now push on now, lap 31, on those medium compound tyres. The question is Plugger going to have to act quick? Because he knows who his barrel is against tonight. It's not against Whiff, it's not against Boltzaroo. Could be against Boltzaroo, but it's against the Ferrari of Velocity, who's now into P2 and doing a phenomenal job. Goes a little bit wide there. This is not helping Plugger. Yes, he is in, and he can see the Ferrari, but he's being held up here, and this is not going to help him at all. 4.7 seconds between Velocity and Dido. Sutsi lost a bit of time, though, on P6. He was 11 seconds. He's now 12.5. 31 laps in, and I think we're going to start to see some action in that top 5.
Yeah, definitely. As you pointed out and what you saw, Velocity going for the double overtake on both Kicks into turn 1, and Plugger needing now to get a move on, as he's got 2 cars in front of him that aren't really in his race, so to speak. And he needs to get a move on and start fighting, well, not fighting, but working back together with Velocity to try and pull that gap in to Dido. As I reckon we'll see one of the Kicks maybe going for a move here. As we see Bolt's going for a move on his teammate. Does he also go from the Ferrari? No. And Plugger stays in P5. He goes for the move on a Kicks.
Oh, I think he's got that all wrong. There's a bit of an incident there. And I saw a bit of debris, and it's that Plugger's car. Has Plugger lost a little bit of a... Oh, he has. He's lost the front left. Oh, his teammate goes steady into the side of him, or into the back of him. He gets it all wrong. We've got to be careful. They know that Whiff is on old tyres. They know this. They've got to be careful here. And Plugger might have just destroyed his race. He's not going to be able to catch Velocity with that damaged front left. No way. He's going to have a lot more speed on that main straight, but the turning ability in that sector 2 is going to be extremely difficult, even coming into turn 1 down the main straight. So Plugger a little bit eager there. He was in the DRS train, he's still there. Velocity looked like he was going to get overtaken from Whiff, because he's in with the DRS still on those old tyres. and Plugger was in that DRS train, so didn't really need to go for that move, and that could have ended very, very badly for Mercedes. We could have had nearly a double DNF there for the Mercedes. Good reactions there from Angus, but Bolts-Roo now is going to attack Plugger. He knows he's got that damage, and as we see in here, Whiff does get back in front of Velocity. So what Velocity's done, a bit pointless really in the last couple of laps, because he's back into the same position he was. This time, Plugger's got damage, but you can see Velocity is such the quicker car. So it's all about maintaining that DRS and maintaining that gap.
Yeah, exactly. And for the most part, we're not too... I don't reckon Velocity Echo knows that Whiff is on all the times. He might know. We're not too sure about that. But if, in the case that he doesn't know, he might think that Whiff's on the same tyre age as him, and that working together with him, trying to DRS swap with him, instead of Plugger now, as Plugger, like you said, got the end plate damage, this might be the more efficient way to DRS swap.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, though, for Plugger to turn that car, and I reckon I'm going to put a down on it, or, you know, comms curse, but I think he is going to get a pen. He's going to be extremely difficult to turn. He's going to lose a lot of speed. Yes, he's got a lot of ERS still. He's going to be running that hot lap, but Velocity is in a really good position. You know, he's been very quick tonight in that Ferrari, the quicker Ferrari out of him in Tennessee. And there you go, he's just about to make the move there. And I reckon he'll try and gap with as much as he can. 23 laps against 33. And Plugger just needs to be able to stay in that DRS as Angus goes around the side. And there you go, more drama in this race as Velocity Echo gets a 3-second time penalty on lap 34. Not what he wanted to see. Music to the ears of Plugger, music to the ears of Whiff, and music to the ears of Bolts-Roo. And also Angus as well. So now he's going to have to really think about his game plan and think, I need to try and get in front of these and try and drop him out of the DRS. Because if he doesn't, then 3 seconds, he's looking all the way down into P6. So what he has done tonight has just been a waste of time, because he's now got that 3-second time penalty. And unfortunately, you ain't getting that taken away. That is staying. And that's unfortunate. That is really unfortunate, especially all the work he's just done, man.
Yeah, the 3 seconds here are destroying. You can easily get track limits here everywhere, at almost every corner. Turn 1's quite easily done to either run wide, either by missing course. We get yellow flags at the first sector. That's Terrence. He spun himself around at turn 1 and turn 2. Seems to get back underway. Gets back underway nicely. But yeah, back to the 3 seconds. It's quite easily done here. Going through turn 1, you can drift out wide by just naturally from understeer, or you could absolutely clip that sausage curb on the inside. And that curb has sent me in past events and races. So speaking from experience, it will send you, and you will get track limits from that. But also up through this corner here on the exit, that's quite easily done. On the exit, the hairpin, and a lot of the other corners in Sector 2 as well. It's very easily done here. I'd say it's easier to get a penalty here than what is at Imola.
Yeah, it is. As we can see at the moment, there is quite a few pens. You've got 3 for Velocity, 3 for Arcade, 3 for Hennessy. There's a nice little battle there, which is going to be very interesting for P8, P9. We've only got 6 for Marzi, Daniel T. Those two just have not had the best of nights, which is unfortunate. But it does happen. You're not always going to have a good night every night, or every week. Every track there are going to be positives and negatives at each track. And then you've also got Trio Kev, who's had 13 seconds tonight, but is in the points. Zoo, 6 seconds in the points. And Terrence had that spin, but is still in the points. And Sebi was 6 seconds. So one more driver at the points, but everyone else at the moment, from P1 down to P15, is getting points. Question is, though, is anyone going to be able to capitalise or even, you know, go against Dido at the moment? Because at the moment, well, we've never spin there. I'm just going to look, and Terrence is into the wall. He's hit one of the debris there, and this is going to be very careful because he's going to come right out in the way. Keep over to the left because you are coming right on the way of the battle between the pack, between Velocity, between Plugger, Whiff, Angus, and Bolts-Roo. So he's going to have to get out of the way. And Arcade Gaming gets another 3-second time penalty, so that's unfortunate for him. Terrence has not had the best of nights. He had a great week last week on his debut, but tonight not the night, and he's getting out the way, keeping on to the left-hand side. Good driving there from the Alpine driver, and there is a yellow flashing because of him. But at the moment, Dido is 4.4 seconds in front. Sutsy's not making any time up on Boltzeroo, still 12.4. It was 11 beforehand, but it's now 12.2. Velocity trying to pull away. Plugger now into P3. He's got past Whiff, and it's now Plugger and Velocity again. Plugger will do fantastic to finish this race in this position, or even on the podium with a damaged car. So, but Kick Saubers, I think they're going to spoil the party here. I really do, because they do need to stop again, and they are going to be extremely quick in the closing stages, or the closing stages of this race at the end, because they're going to be on the softs. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. I don't know, has Dido done the right thing at the moment? He's got a 4.5 second gap, but safety car comes out, changes the whole dynamics of this race again, as we are coming very, very close to lap 40.
Yeah, this race has flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Dido always just a little bit of a kick there. At that corner, that's definitely a tough one to get right on the exit, get the power down. But yeah, Dido extending that gap to 4.77 seconds as we get another yellow flag. That's Terrence again. Definitely, like you said, on debut, great race. But so far tonight, he's obviously not fancying Portugal and Portimao. He's obviously not fancying this 100%. He seems like he wants to have this over and done with as he's on the new soft. But back up to the front, yeah, Dido's still slightly pulling a gap. At this point, those soft tyres are going to be well and truly starting to die off. And I reckon we'll definitely see these medium tyre runners start rearing into life and pulling that gap back in.
Yeah, well, it's been a very, very good race, and all right, okay, we've got a background check of Dido. Okay, has anyone got time? You're gonna take a bit of time. Dido has been with Rush for 4 years. He's been a TP for the last, I need to see if I can get this right, 4 seasons. Unfortunately, he has never won a championship in Rush yet. He's won a lot of titles. He's won the constructors. He's not won the overalls. You would think, wow. He had a very, very close finish a couple of seasons ago with F1NZ. Terrence is retired. Terrence is out of this race. That brings out a safety car. I will go back to the background check very, very soon or later. Another Alpine. And I'm sorry to say this, and we've said this. This is the 4th Alpine that has brought out a safety car. Is there something going on? Is there something in your cornflakes? Because it has happened again. And he's retired on track, which is not allowed in the rules, and that has brought out a safety car. So he is in serious trouble, and it's happened again now. An Alpine has brought out a safety car again.
Definitely, what's the word we'll use for the stream? A bit sus, I think is the word we'll use. An Alpine bringing out a safety car, the 4th one of the week. I was unaware of this.
Over a consecutive amount of weeks, we've seen it, and it's happened again tonight, and yeah, not looking good, No need to bring out a safety car. You're struggling, no problem. Get on the tyres, set a fastest lap, and just keep going. You know, anything can happen, and you have just changed everything now. This has brought everything into it. Plugger's going to have an opportunity to fix his wing. That's going to put him further back. Velocity's obviously got that penalty. Dido has lost that gap. That's it. He is back out in front. He's going to be on some very good tyres. He's not going to be on the quicker tyres though. The other guys are. This has opened this race up wide open with 26 laps to go. Coming up.
Yeah, definitely. As we see Dido losing that gap of about 4.6, 4.5 seconds. All that hard work for nothing. But on the bright side now, he has a bit of a defense from the Ferrari who has the penalty. So the kicks and Mercs behind will definitely have to put in a bit of extra work to get past him to see if they can fight Dito for that P1. But this definitely helps out the kicks more than anyone, I believe, as they will get the pit for their allocated tyres. And now they're both on the softs. They've done their mandatory tyre strat. They are looking to go to the end of this race. I believe everyone who has pitted is.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see here. It's stuffed up a lot of strategies and a lot of people are turning around it. It's brought a lot of people in, though. It's put Shifty Flight back in it, put Marzi back into it. You know, Sebi's back into it. Everyone is still back into it, and everyone will score points now. So if there's no retirements, you will score points. So don't bloody retire. Stay in that car. Do apologise about the background check. I hope you did hear us, but yeah, I want my points. Okay, and you will get them. There's 2 minutes to go, but I'm going to have to delete it because it's still going. I've said if there's going to be safety car, and you said yes. All right, I'll let that continue. 2 minutes to go, and well, everyone can say yes now, so I have to void it because everyone can just vote yes and get maximum points. So unfortunately, it's going to be deleted, and you're going to get your points returned because that's not fair. It happened within the time limit, so it's voided. So we will bring in a different prediction. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see now what's going to happen, as there's a lot of penalties in the mix of this, and this changes a massive, massive situation here. Because, you know, everyone's on fresh tyres. Mediums versus softs. And obviously, Satsi, what a great position he's put himself in. He rode those hard tyres for so long, and then all of a sudden, now in 6th position, right at the back of Boltsaru on soft compound tyres, and we'll be able to go to the end. So the question is, though, softs versus mediums. What do you reckon? Prediction on that till the end of the race? Who's winning, soft or medium? Do you reckon? I like that one. I think we'll go with that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good prediction,
We'll go with
I'd say.
Right, who's going to win? Soft or medium? Who's going to win? Soft or meds? Soft, medium. There we go. Let's go with that. And we'll give that 15 minutes. There you go, guys. New prediction. Who's going to win? Softs or mediums? We've got Dido on the mediums. We've got Velocity on the mediums. We've got With Matif on the softs, Plugger on the mediums, Boltsaru on the softs, Satsi on the softs, Angus on the softs, RK on the mediums, Hennessy on the mediums, Shifty Fight on the softs, Daniel T on the softs, Zoo on the softs, Marzi on the mediums, Trio Kev on the mediums, PST Sebi on the hards. Get off those hards, mate, and get onto a set of mediums if you got them, because you've got a massive opportunity of scoring big, big points, and being that far back, you're going to have to pick up the pace, so you want to be on the better tyre. It's not going to affect anything if you go into the pits. So a little bit of engineering there from the TP wouldn't go and shout, because look at that. Both RBs right at the back on completely different tyre strategies. So interesting to see. 14 minutes going on that prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've tuned in with us tonight, lap 41 out of 66 at Portimao, round number 6. I know, only 6. And we are at Division 3. Big up to our main sponsor, AI369, which will be launching very, very soon, I've heard, in a grapevine there. So everything will be live, and I'm looking very, very excited, looking forward to it, can't wait. Also big up to Pagnian as well. If you want to get on board and want to get some sim gear, please click on the link below or in the comments, Pagnian Rush24 code, and we'll give you a little bit of a discount. If you've got any questions, then feel free to DM me, and I can help you along the way. If you've got anything from Next Level to Moser, anything, then get amongst it. We've also got SimLab as well, who do pedals, cockpits, and also a very, very, very nice Mercedes wheel, I've got to say. And then we have got New Zealand only Speed Nation. So if you want to get involved and you are a Kiwi and you need some gear, then feel free to message me. But we have got the safety car coming in. It's been a great night so far. Is Dido going to be able to keep that lead? Lam, it's over to you.
Yeah. Hopefully, from a Williams driver perspective, hopefully Dido can bring home the win. But he's going to have what's the word I want to use? Some harsh competition behind him as it's go for this restart. Whiff already looking to go for the move on Velocity. Not looking to waste any time as he wants to go around the outside of turn 1. Can't get it off. Velocity goes on the curve. Little bit of contact. Sootsie gets a 3-second time penalty into 1. He goes to send on the kicks. Over the curve for the Red Bull. Hopefully no floor damage. There's a lot of chaos behind. A bunch of drivers in the gravel trap.
Oh, look at
that.
Look at that.
Not good.
Daniel T tonight has been involved in everything. It's just not having the best of races. If he gets to the end of this and puts in the top 5, he's my driver of the day. Because he's involved in so much. Not by his own fault, but completely different kettle of fish from last week. Really unfortunate for him compared to his teammate who is still leading this way in P1 at the moment, 5.5 teams. Then we've got Velocity, then Plugger, then Boltaroo, then with Matif, then Satsi got that penalty earlier on. That's really hurt him. Then Angus just going a little bit too wide there and getting a penalty. That's not what he wants. Shifty Flight and Mazi. Now both McLarens up into P8 and P9. Keep an eye on Shifty Flight. No penalties in the DRS train at the moment with everyone. Watch out for him. He'll be interesting to see. We've got then Trio Kevin at P10. Sebi now at P11. They were last, and now they are in P10 and P11. Now, things can change at the click of a hat, or the click of my fingers, you just heard. Zoo in the P12 on the soft. Then Daniel T and RK and Hennessy involved in the incident at the back. Stewards look like they're going to have a busy night so far. Hennessy getting another 3-second time penalty. It's not going to plan for him tonight. Same with Daniel T. Nice little battle going on here, though, at the front as Velocity has gone right to the back of Dido, and Dido now is going to have some serious pressure as he looks like Boltaroo goes around the outside. He's not clipped in. He gives space. Stays in that P4. We are going to have a battle on our hands the closing stages of this race lap.
Yeah, definitely, as we saw, I believe it was Bolts trying to get the move done on Plugger. Definitely a bit ambitious into the hairpin with 23 laps to go. He's already looking like he wants to get up into the lead and take off. As earlier, I saw Flight get past Angus for that P7 position. He's out of DRS at the moment. Hopefully he can get back in it. We can see him charge up through the field. As Sutsi looks to go for the move on Whiff. Backs out of it. Makes the sensible choice. And I believe we'll see Velocity go past Dido in the DRS. And we might see Plugger and even Bolts follow him through.
Yeah, the problem is we've got here that Sutsi does have that penalty. Velocity has that penalty as Velocity does take the lead of this race. We have a brand new leader of Portimao, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel T getting the fastest lap, so that's the fastest lap point at the way there. But will he be able to keep it? That's the question. As at the moment, it looks like the medium runners are going to be winning this prediction at the moment. I'm just going to give you a bit of a heads up. So we've got who's going to win on soft or mediums. Soft, 5,020 points of view, and mediums, 18,000 points of view. So you are going for the mediums, guys, tonight. And I don't know. The softs are quick. The softs are quick. So keep an eye out on Whiff and keep an eye out on Bolts, Sutsi, and Shifty. Angus has dropped all the way down into P8 now. And Marzi looks like ready to pounce on that. 2.6. He's on the mediums. He's on 8 laps. So those tyres are going to be into good temp. And he'll be really pushing. So 20 laps to go. That takes you to 60. Ooh, they're going to be. Them softs are going to be hurting. Lap 20. So 60 on lap 60. Those softs are going to be hurting. So keep an eye out on that. Actually, no, they're going to be hurting 55, aren't they? Yeah, 55. So there's more drama in this race. I've got a feeling there's more drama. But at the moment, we have got the closest battle we have seen all race between Velocity with Dido, Plugger, Boltsy, and Suts. And these guys are going to have to be fully concentrating because there's still a long way to go and things can change very easily in this race. As we are seeing a little bit of contact going into turn 2 and with Matif out in front on them soft compound tyres. Dido in the P2, Boltsy into P3. I've got a new nickname for him, call him Boltsy instead of Boltaroo. As Dido going side by side action here. Lamb, I'm going to let you take over. I need to save my voice.
The Kick's definitely loving the move around the outside of the hairpin. I saw Whiff pulling that one off on Plugger earlier. Whiff has built a gap now to Dido with all that fighting that was going on from P2 and down. Bolts, I believe, lost a bit of his end plate. It's not a bit, it's the whole end plate. But looks to have lost, yeah, he has the front left. But that is the Kicks up into P1 and P3. We have Whiff, a new race leader, and he's pulling away from Dido. Yeah, but as you were saying earlier, the softs are going to die out a lot quicker. Whiff needs to build a gap up to Dido, and hopefully we might see Bolts working against Dido here and working with Whiff. Once he gets ahead, might just try slowing him down a little bit, so even when the mediums become the better tyre to be on at the end and the closing stages of this race, there's too large of a gap. As we see Sutzi also going for the move on Dido, gets it done. The medium tyre runners are just dropping like flies. Dido, Velocity, and Plugger being those drivers were P1, 2, and 3 are now P4, P5, P6 being replaced by the soft runners of Whiff, Boltsy, and Sutzi.
How things can change very quickly in F1 sim racing, ladies and gentlemen. And now look at the prediction. It's gone from 15,000. Remember, it was 5,000 on soft. It's now 15,000. So you've got 6 minutes to go. And since you've seen those moves happen, the voting has changed. It is changed completely. We've got 3 soft runners out in front. And we saw early on, didn't we? We saw early on Dido did get a good gap on them soft compound tyres. Can Whiff do the same? Bolts is going to have to do everything he can to try and work or hold up Sutzi. But the problem is, Sutzi's on the same tyres with that 3-second time penalty. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to plan out. Dido still in the DRS. We saw Whiff. He stayed within the DRS on very, very old tyres compared to everyone on fresh. So it's doable. It's just patience now. You know, you've got 20 laps. You've got to hold on. And it's going to be very interesting as we're seeing coming down the main straight. Sutzi does not make a decision here. And Plugger, who has been very quiet, Bolts has just got a 3 seconds. And there you go. Things can change very quickly. And they have. And Plug at the moment, no pens. Dido, no pens. And Shifty Plight, no pens. And Whiff, no pens. So we could see a very big change happening very quick. I don't know how this race is going to go. I think this is Division 6 all over again. There's 5 different people that win this race.
Yeah, definitely. As Dido is almost been dropped from the DRS of those soft runners. Those softs really kicking up, rearing into life into these closing stages of the race. And I believe we might see a little bit of tactics from Bolts, maybe slowing a little bit further down in the second sector, building that gap to Whiff, still keeping the DRS, so that way he can just bring it back in, close back up to his teammate, but not run the risk of any contact going into turn 1. As we see Dido just keeping in the DRS and dropping Velocity as Velocity and Plug are going side by side.
Ooh, you can do it. You can do it. It's doable, and they've done it very, very well. I think the worrying thing here is what do you do in the kick situation? You've got Bolts with a 3 second. Whiff is higher up in the championship. What do you do? That's going to be the question, because if you hold back, Sutzi is on the same tyres as you with a 3 second time penalty. So at the moment, it's between Bolts and Suts, but Dido and Plugger and Velocity are, you know, they're too close. You know, at the moment, they're, you know, Bolts and Suts are going to fall down to around about P5. You know, so they are going to lose the podium, but I don't know how this is going to go. I think this will be very interesting. We are going to jump on board with Velocity for a onboard, but let's think about that for a second, Lamb. Thoughts to that decision of what Whiff and Bolts are going to do, because Bolts is on the 3 seconds. Does Whiff let him through? Does he let him push on? Or does Bolts hold up the rest of the pack and let Whiff push on? What's your thoughts to that? That is a hard one to pick, as Velocity goes way wide off track. Could have got us some 3 seconds, but I'll take that over to you, Lamb.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the kicks might be considering swapping here. Whiff will probably drop back, give Bolts the position, and strategically, if I was their kick TP, if I was their engineer, I'd probably tell them to swap. As we see Sutzi going for the move already, gets it done on Bolts. Daniel T sets another fastest lap, but Sutzi into P2, looking to make a late charge here in that Red Bull. But now this throws out the strategy that I was going to say. I was going to say Whiff and Bolt should probably swap here. Whiff could build up that gap to the 3 second, and very precisely, definitely not realistically, but this is a video game we are playing, so realism's not the goal here. What have you seen?
Shifty Flight's on the left-hand side of Velocity, going to get for the move done. And Velocity has gone from P5, from P2, all the way down to P8. he has just not managed to push it after the restart and getting onto fresh tyres. He's just lost a little bit of momentum, which is really unfortunate because he had such a great night battling against Plugger. Plugger now in a P5, Velocity down in a P8. So interesting to see. Just on board at the moment, it's just been overtaken by Shifty Flight and Angus. And he's got Daniel T right behind him, 1.3 seconds with that 3-second time, with 6.
Yeah, and from what we saw from Daniel T earlier, getting caught up in that safety car restart, being in the gravel trap, he's recovered really well. Nearly in the DRS of the top 8. He's in P9 at the moment, looking to be working together with the Aston, I believe. So we might be able to see a late charge from them, even though they've got penalties. We might see a late charge from the other Williams driver. But so far at the sharp end, we have Whiff from Sudsy from Bolt still holding positions. Then we've got Dito right in their tyre tracks. Plugger just a little bit further behind. Not a lot of battery, just out of DRS still. He's got a lot of work to do, but to be fair, he's got Dito right there. Then they both don't got penalties, so their overtakes are going to be for position. Whilst if they overtake Bolts or Sutsy, they still got to get to Whiff if they want any benefits from the other guys' penalties.
Yeah, the problem is they're not pulling away. There's 5.5 attempts. Everyone is still in the DRS train, apart from Angus at the moment. 2.4 seconds behind. Shifty Flight needs to get past him, but he's being followed very closely as Velocity goes round. That's it. I think that's 6 seconds. I think he's in serious trouble. Yeah, Velocity's on 6 now. Shifty Flight is in a great position, but he needs to get a move on. He's on them soft compound tyres, and he is not gaining on Angus at the moment. He's in the DRS. He needs to get in front of Angus and push on. He's still got an opportunity to cause a bit of a storm and get into the top 5 here. It's because Sutsy and Bolt still have that 3-second time penalty at the moment. It's becoming a little bit of a different train at the moment because we're seeing Dito make the move on Boltsy on those mediums, get out in front. Sutsy still in P2, 3.5 tenths behind Whiff. There's a lot of drama going on here as Velocity goes way off track there. And he's got some serious pace, but making mistakes, and he's got very, very close to Angus again. So, and he's got off track again. He's probably going to get another 3, and that'll be 9. Shifty Flight will probably, I don't know, he'll try, and I don't know how it's going to work. He doesn't seem to have the pace on the rest of the pack, so we'll have to wait and see there. Marzi looks to be cemented in that P11 position at the moment, so we're going to look there. He's on 6. So currently he will finish P10 if anything happens between Zoo and Daniel. Daniel looks like he's going to make some more positions up. He is on 6 seconds, which is very unfortunate. So he's going to drop a little bit further down as well. But Shifty Flight's got a massive opportunity to get into that top 5 if he can do it. He's got no penalties. Velocity's got 6. Angus has got 3. Bolts has got 3, Sutsy's got 3, and Shifty Flight at the moment is 6 seconds behind the leader. So there is still light at the end of that tunnel, Lamb.
Yeah, just a little bit. Oh, who's that? That's Whiff going for the move on it. No, it's Sutsy going for the move into P1. A new race leader again as Dito and Whiff are fighting through turns 3, and I'm assuming in turn 4. Just about keeping safe. And something I've picked up on, Bolt has a little bit of end plate damage on the front left.
Ooh.
He's missing that end plate as they get really close into the hairpin. All just stopping just in time to not make any contact.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with that front left plate. We saw Plugger earlier on with that plate damage, and at the moment Poltaru nearly went into the back of the Williams, and then Williams would have hit Whiff, and Whiff would have hit Suts, and that would have been a nice little domino effect there, which we don't want to see. And Mercedes doing a phenomenal job as well. P5, P6 at the moment. Kick Sauber tonight, P4 and P2. Williams, P3 and P8. Some really good jobs. McLaren consistent there, P10 and P11, and actually Zoo has overtaken Shifty. So Shifty is now in the, I think he's now 7 seconds behind. No, 7.9. So he's lost a little bit of time there. He was 6 behind the leader. He's now 8. So he's losing time. Don't know if he's got the pace. Don't know if he's got the tyres either. So, I don't know. We're going to look at the prediction. I'm just going to look at the prediction now. And 24% of you are saying 20,000 the softs are going to win. And 76% of you, 64,000 points on mediums. So, yeah, I would say the favourites are mediums, Lamb. Would you say?
Definitely, considering I put some of my points into the medium vote.
You got 100,000 points yet?
Nope, I just spent 5k on that vote, and I was at 68k.
95.
Getting closer.
95. You need
Getting
95.
closer.
Whoever's got 95, use those points for the track selection. Season 9, get amongst it. Also, I just want to say one more thing as well. We are on YouTube. I've only seen 18 people subscribing at the moment. Let's get some more subscribers. We have over 1,600 or nearly 1,700 followers on Twitch. Let's get all those followers on Twitch onto YouTube. That will be the new place to watch all of these races, as Twitch has decided to minimize their storage. So we've only got 100 hours. So that is going to start. So we are going to start to lose, unfortunately, some of the streaming footage throughout the season as well. We're not going to be able to get every single race on, unfortunately. So it is going to go to YouTube. So if you do want to tune in and you do want to get involved, then feel free to get amongst our YouTube, which is in the comments, which I will just scroll up and find very, very quickly. There we go. I'm trying to find it. It's TikTok. Here we go. Check us out finally on YouTube, www.youtube.com dash at Rush Racing League 08. You probably want to know why is it 08? Because it's season 8. There you go. There's your answer. 31 viewers tuning in, 54 laps out of 66. What a race this has been. We've had a bit of drama going on here, and Sebi has gone off track in the gravel. Is he beached? No, he's not beached. He's all good. He is going to be able to get out of that gravel. We've got battles going on here between Zoo and Shifty Flight. We are coming to the closing stages of this race. Still time for another safety car. Still time for drama to happen. 3 attempts between Suts and Whiff. There is still hardly anything between the top 5. Who is it going to go to? It's out of Dido, it's out of Plugger, it's out of Whiff. And we've got another yellow as Sebi has lost it again. But he is in a points position, so he will get points. The question is, who is going to win this race? Dido, Plugger, Whiff. If any one of these gets a penalty, it all changes yet once again, as it looks like we see Suts make the move for the lead of this race. We are going to jump on board with Zoo. We're going to let Lamb take us away.
For the onboard. All right, let's see. He gets just past Shifty Flight there. Takes turn 1 rather nicely. He does seem to have a little bit of end play damage on the front right, as he's still got Shifty Flight right there. We might see a rogue attack from the McLaren, as Zoo doesn't have quite as much battery. Nothing there, as we get another yellow flag. That's Sebi. I believe he has rear wing damage. I saw his car flying up earlier before. I was stayed on board with him, watching him, and he did spin out a lot into all the corners, and from my experience of the rear wing damage, it is a pain here. As that, yep, there's rear wing damage. Oh, the racing line! Oh! Nearly wiping out the front runners, as you'll probably be seeing him as go past Zoo coming up. That was too close for comfort with the leaders. As almost done with this onboard, as Zoo comes around the final few corners. We might see a bit of a change here between himself and Flight going on to this DRS straight.
Thanks for that, Lamb. Really appreciate that. I think we might see Sebi just coming in, change that front wing, or I don't know if you can change that rear wing because that's completely cooked. Really unfortunate. Do not retire. Keep it going. Come on. Keep at it. Try and do as much as you can. Probably see a retirement. Hopefully we don't see a retirement. See if he can still continue gain those points for RB. It's 1 point. No, he is called it. Unfortunately, no points for RB. I know you got damage, man, but still, just keep at it. Practice. You know, I know you're going to get in drama just as long as you keep away from them. But points is points. End of the day, and that 1 point can change a whole lot. But unfortunately, we are now down to 14 drivers. It's been a miserable night for Hennessy and Trio Kiv tonight. Arcade Gaming as well. Marzi, unfortunately, getting that drive through very early on, but has done his best. He's got to the back of Zoo and his teammate as well, so he's not far from there, so still points up for grabs. We are going to go and check on just the leader there. Shifty Fight 2 seconds now from Whiff. He was 6 seconds before. He's just lost so much time, which is very unfortunate. We've got a yellow, and it looks like that is Sebi. He is gone. He's disappeared. And Whiff Motif is going to get overtaken from Sutsi again. No one seems to be pulling away here at the moment, Lamb. 57 laps out of 66. We have got 9 laps to go, and the battles are still continuing. Boltsaru, though, 1.3 seconds away from the leader. The kicks are still in a big opportunity here. Whiff dropping all the way down to P4. Plugger now to P3. Whiff going around the outside, getting close to Plugger. Plugger going wide. Who gets the better exit at the moment? It looks like Mercedes does. Yes, he does. Whiff stays in behind. Great driving between the kick and the Mercedes driver there. Sutsi still in the lead of this race. 4.5 tenths. Is anyone going to make a gap, Lamb? That's going to be the question.
I reckon we might see a little bit of a gap form between Plugger and Whiff with the tyre compound difference. But to be fair, we have Sutsi out there on the softs in the lead, so he might be able to prevent that gap from happening, from being as slower, being at the same pace compared to Whiff and Bolt, who all have the same tyre age at the moment. Those softs are definitely dying out, as we saw Dino go for the move on Whiff earlier on the 1 lap ago. So he's going to go back and retake the race lead, and we're going to see Plugger following suit on the outside turn 1, gets it done and dusted. Both those medium tyre runners up into P1 and P2. We're going to see a battle and a nice little rivalry between the driver, between the TP.
Yep, we are indeed. We're going to see it. We haven't seen it this season so far, and we are going to see it tonight. Dino and Plugger, TP versus ex-driver. Is he going to give him a little bit of a knock, a little bit of wheel banging? That doesn't matter. It's racing. You can get involved with wheel banging at the moment, but I'll tell you something. Plugger has to save that ERS because he was at 19% when he overtook, and when there's a bit of a drama. Oh, there's drama going on, and Sutsi's lost it. He's lost the front plate. Does that bring a safety car out with a damage? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry I raised my voice, but there was a bit of drama going on there as Echo nearly goes into the back of Whiff Matisse. Oh, there's a lot of drama going on now. We are starting to get very interested into this race as Velocity at the middle of nowhere has now come up into P5 and is ready to pounce on the kick. Saba goes around the outside. Does he get the job done? No, he doesn't. Sutsi has had an amazing race and has dropped all the way down from P2 down to P10 with that wing damage, and that looks like Boltsaru is in the pits for that damaged front wing. Drama going on there has happened on that lap, and closing stages. This has definitely changed the pecking order now, as Dido and Plugger are now, well, they're in the limelight now, because Angus is 3.2 seconds behind. With Matif, 9 tenths, can still get a podium here. The Shifty Flight up in a P7, but look at this. He's being followed very closely by Zoo, Sutsi, and his TP of Marzi. Drama in the closing stages of this race. You would not have thought you would see that. But they were getting close. They were getting very, very close.
Yes, they were indeed, and I don't think that wasn't Sutsi that got damaged. That was both the kicks, as Whiff is missing it in play. And from what I saw earlier, before Bolts came to the pit, Bolts was missing a lot more of his wing compared to Whiff. It was a bit of his end plate, a good chunk of that front wing. So, obviously a bit of an incident there. So, that will probably get investigated. But that brings Daniel up into P6 from the miserable race he's had so far. And, let's see, he's got 7 seconds to the cars behind. There's definitely a bit of a gap. So this train from P3 to P6, that's going to be one to look out for. Ooh. As Whiff so far is the only one without penalties. We see a change for the lead. Dino back up into P1, followed really closely by Plugger and the Merc. This is definitely going to get a lot more intense in these closing stages of the race.
Oh yeah, this is getting juicy by the moment here. We've got 6 laps to go, coming up with that driver of the day. I'm going to put that to you in a second. Lamb, who you think is going to deserve driver of the day. There is anything that can happen. The safety car is still able to come out within 3 laps. So when it gets to 63, that is it, done and dusted. I'm just going to go back onto tyres at the moment, and the mediums are the ones that are winning. We've got Angus on them softs in 21s. We've now, are we going to start to see them softs dip? You know, Shifty Flight in that P8 position. Marzi obviously in 9th at the moment on those medium compound tyres. Does have that penalty. Shifty doesn't. Still opportunity here. We are going to see some changes happening very, very, well, at the end of this race, it's going to be very interesting to see. The question is, can Plugger and Dido stay with each other? Can Dido lose Plugger? Can Velocity cause a bit of a storm and get in the mix of it and cause problems and get them a penalty? Can Whiff get back into it? You know, can Daniel T push himself up through the pack? Can Satsi get back into it? There's just so much to go on within 5 laps of racing. But at the moment, Plugger is leading it. And, yeah, these are the two in the championship at the moment that are the closest to rivalries. And what a rivalry we are seeing tonight. It's been a fun-filled night. It's been a long night. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Probably not as many people as we do normally see, but it is unfortunate. But it's still good to see all of you still watching and tuning in. But we are coming to the closing stages, and it is between Dido and Plugger at the moment as it stands. The question is, who is going to get that P3? Because at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be Angus, but it could be Whiff, because he is right behind 7.5 tenths behind Velocity with no pens. So at the moment, it's looking like Plugger, Dido, and Whiff. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's got to be quick because he's actually losing the DRS on Velocity, which he doesn't want to do, because then that means he's going to have to make up another couple of seconds. And yeah, you do not want to lose the DRS. Does he have the tyres in him? Does he have the strength? Because at the moment, Velocity and Dido and Plugger look likely to be on the best compound of tyres in the closing stages of this race, as we are about to see another change for the lead as Hennessy gets another penalty. Unfortunate for him. Not the best of nights for the Ferrari. Dido doesn't go for the move. Yes, he does. It's really late there. Keeps it in within track limits, and that's all you do not want to get. You do not want to get a track limit penalty now. Back to you. Ooh, a little bit of a... Yeah, they're starting to feel it. They are really starting to feel it. The question is who's going to get the win here? Lamb, predictions.
Predictions, definitely either Plugger or Dido's. We see a really, not late, but an ambitious move into the hairpin by Plugger, re-overtaking Dido. He is definitely looking like he wants this race to win, but there's also Dido that getting a bit squirrely. They're definitely starting to feel the tyres. They're definitely starting to feel a bit on the hey going end of it. But then there's also, like you were saying, that last spot on the podium. That could either be followed up by Velocity, Angus, Daniel, or Whiff. Whiff doesn't have the penalty, so he'd be most likely, I'd say, to get that P3. Daniel's gotten past him, but he's out of the DRS. Then there's Angus and Velocity that are going to be fighting real hard for the podium. I definitely feel like the Mercs would be more or less appreciative of the double podium, as I believe we're going to see Dido charging into turn 1. No, he's flicked the battery off. Doesn't want to get the overtake. He is saving it. And the other problem here is that the overtake on that back straight, that doesn't come until toward the end, as the DRS zone doesn't stretch out the whole way. So if you want to get the overtake done and win the race in the last lap, it has to get done relatively close. Not like on the line like we see most tracks, but in the corners before, in that double hairpin-esque bit of Sector 3 is when we're going to see the overtake for the lead. And I believe Dido's realised that, and that's where he will be attacking come the last lap.
Yeah, great to see there as Whiff does get back out in front. At the moment, subscribe, Yuki. Get rid of those adverts. Subscribe, mate. That's what it's all about. Subscribe, get amongst it. Press that blue button or red button. Sky Sports, whatever. I know it's frustrating, but it's revenue. It's what it's all about. You know, get amongst it. You know, you don't like those ads, then you press that blue button or red button. I'm going to give Driver of the Day my point of view to Daniel T. I think what he has been through tonight, you know, it's out of him and Velocity Echo. I think Velocity Echo's had an amazing race. You know, he's still going for it. He's on the mediums, and them softs are gone. I think them softs have actually cooked. I think they're going to struggle. And I do believe he's got another pen though, so I can't give it to him now because he keeps getting penalties. That pushes him down to 9. It's so unfortunate because he's had such a great race. The battles with Plugger, you know, so serious pace tonight. He's going to drop all the way down. I'm just trying to think here. Where's Daniel T going to drop down to? He's 9
just
as well.
Behind Whiff, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's got to go to, I think
behind
it's got to go to Daniel T. personally. That's my vote. You can put it on your point of view. As we are coming to closing stages, we do need to announce the DOTD. I think it's got to go to Daniel T. That's my point of view. But if you think a different driver, then we'll put it to a poll.
I reckon it's a genuine toss up between Velocity Echo and Daniel T. As I believe they both have 9 seconds of pens, and both have come up 12 places, so they're relatively equal on, from what we can see, their quote unquote, we use the word stats at the moment. So I'll give my vote to Velocity Echo in the Ferrari.
Okay, guys, we've got 5 minutes. Put your votes in. There you go. DOTD. Ladies and gentlemen, get your votes in. Poll is up. I'm giving mine to Daniel T. I can vote on polls. I can't vote on the other one. So there we go. It's 50-50 at the moment. There's a vote each. So you've got 3 laps or 2 laps to go. We are coming to closing stages. I'll let Lamb take this one and I'll take the last lap, as I love to go mad on the last lap. Lamb, over to you, mate.
Alright, as we looking at P1 and P2, Dito and Plugger, they've kept this formation so far, with Plugger in the lead, Dito behind, Angus in front of Velocity. He got that move done into turn number 1. We also have the battle between Whiff and Daniel here. Whiff, obviously, with no penalties, he's definitely going to be looking to gain an advantage, gain the positions on Velocity and Angus, who have the penalties. We've got Flight and Marzi in the McLarens behind Daniel. I don't think Flight's close enough to Daniel to gain anything from the penalties. Then there's Sootsie behind. Definitely had a bit of a fall from grace in that Red Bull. But back up to Plugger and Dito. Up to the last lap. Up over to you, SJ.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Please get your votes in for Daniel T on Velocity. It's not Plugger, it's no one else, it's only those two. So get your votes in. I know you probably don't agree, but we've seen a lot more than what you've seen, guys, tonight. And here we go. We've got Dito and Plugger at it. Dito has left, basically, he's basically led this race from start to finish. Plugger has had his hard work out, and Daniel T is in P5 from last. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen, last. So here we go. We've got closing stages. 63% against 19. Plugger has used every part of his ERS. I think that is a bad thing. He's going to have to save. He's going to have to do everything he can. I think Dito is going to get him here. He's got so much more battery. He's still burning to catch up with him. It's going to be happening. It's going to get very, very close. Is Daniel going to make it, Dito going to make it beforehand? Save every single part of your ERS for that last corner, because that is where you're going to need it. Here, coming up to one more corner. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 66 laps of Portugal. Dito has to burn everything he's got. I think he's got it. I think if he burns everything now, he's got it. Plugger's burning everything. He's got 30%. It looks like Dito's going to go for it. It doesn't look like Dito's going to get it. He's going to run out. It's going to be so close to the line. He's going to get the move. Daniel. Ooh, 0.094, and Plugger gets one against his TP. What a night of action. What a night race. What a race. Angus into P3, Whiff into P4, Velocity into P5, Daniel T into P6, Shifty-Fly into P7, Sutsi into P8, Marzi into P9, Zoo into P10, Arcade into P11. Boltsaru, really unfortunate, pitted later on, had that damage, had a little bit of a mare at the end of this race. Hennessy struggled tonight, and Trio Kev crossing the line. Wow. What a night of racing, as always, and just so close at the end there, wasn't it? Just so close, and even the game gives Daniel T the drive of the day. So, yeah, we're just going to wait to see what happens. It's not about the winner. It's not about the winner. It's not about the winner at all. It's about what we've seen tonight, and and obviously Lamb has put his vote in for Velocity, and I've put mine in for Daniel T. And I'm not even a Williams driver, so there you go. Love the. I can't believe it. What a night, you know. Who thought 100% aren't fun?
It's definitely a weird one to say 100% would be fun. Especially all things considered, like the field spreads out a lot more. You don't generally see this close of battling that we have tonight. We were very lucky to see the battling that we did get to see. Especially a lot amongst the top 5, top 6, from start to finish. Just battles. Makes for great commentary, great stream, and overall just a great fun night.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate you jumping in as well. But before we get a classification, Plugger takes P1, then Dido, then Angus. They are your top three with Velocity, Daniel T, Shifty Fight, Sutsi, Mazi, Zoo, Rake, Boltsaru Trio, Hennessy, Sebi, DNF, Terrence, DNF, and Legham, DNF. So 3 DNFs tonight. 14 drivers get points. What a night of action. Let's get them in for an interview. Yeah, it's been a very, very good night. And it's definitely going to make a massive, interesting standings and championship battle. I'm just trying to get Division 3 to get these guys in. So just bear with me a second. Just going to copy that link. I'm going to grab them in. So join the comms box. So finishers are Plugger, Dido, and P3 was with. Am I correct?
I believe so, yeah.
With. Yeah. And we're going to find out very, very shortly. I'm just waiting. Daniel T. And Daniel T comes in for driver of the day. He gets driver of the day. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, jump in, guys. There's 4 of you. Please jump in. We'll interview Daniel T first. First of all, I'm going to ask you, Lam, your summary of events. What you thought that, how much you enjoyed Portimao, and in the comments box as well.
I definitely enjoyed being here, you having me here for tonight in the comms box. Definitely a fun one to commentate. Definitely a lot more fun than my race in Div 2 from my experience. But yeah, definitely a fun one to watch all the battles between Plugger, Dido, and the kicks. We had all the storylines. You had the championship, the current standings of Plugger, Dido fighting. Then you had the terms of constructors fighting as well, with the kicks and the mercs there at one point and another. Also, I believe it was Angus that got P3.
Oh, sorry.
Not with.
My apologies. I do apologise. Just don't want to see Merc win anymore. No, that's nothing against them. Angus, jump in. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'll let you start it off, and then obviously we'll start off with driver of the day, which is Daniel T. So I'll take it over to you. Over to you, Lam.
All right, Daniel T, my Williams, well, not my, but my Williams teammate in Div 3. How was your race tonight?
Rough to say the least.
Fair enough. We definitely saw a bit of your car not in the spots you'd like it to be. But you had a great recovery drive, though. Can you inform us on that recovery drive, please?
Yeah, just I don't know. Once I was on those softs at the end there, and felt pretty quick. Got that fastest lap, which helped push me along to try and catch those guys in front. And really, I was just trying to do lap after lap. I pulled a muscle in my shoulder today, so it's been an absolute mission to get through that race. And yeah, just happy it's over.
It sounds like, all things considered, great drive from you, pulling the muscle, getting foot in the back, getting involved in all the incident, not all the incidents, but a fair chunk of them, recovering to, I believe it was P6 on track, P6, P7, and to driver of the day. I'll pass you back over to SJ. Great race out there, bruv.
Thanks,
and I
bro.
believe this is your 4th time consecutively in the comms box after the races. We'll see if you keep the streak up.
Well, let's go. William's doing well, so happy with that.
Okay, Daniel T. I think I might have caused World War One in the chat with the decision. To be honest with you, I'm going to be honest. I don't care. I think end of the day, you can't give it to the winners all the time. They get enough points. They get 25 points, at the beginning. And obviously, we see you tonight. You spun. You had incident after incident. I think you spun 2 times. You lost a front wing. You had to pit. you had to come from the back, and we could see you making your way up through the top. And we were watching tonight, and the battle that you had to do, and I think that's the reasons why you deserved it. It was close between you and Velocity. I think if Velocity didn't get another 3, I think it would have gone to him because he had a fantastic race. You battled very, very hard with Plugger. You just got too many pens. People are going to say, "Oh yeah, 6 seconds and 9 seconds of pens," but to spin, come last, then make yourself up through the pack, not get demoralised. And then obviously hearing tonight, a little bit of a sympathy vote with the shoulder, but we'll let that go. And I think that's the reasons why I drove of the day. I think you drove fantastically to pull that back, because some people just throw the towel in, as we did see. Unfortunately, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm going to mention the Haas there in the points and putting it into the pits and retiring. Which is, it's disappointing to see. So no, I take my hat off to you, mate, for keep fighting it. Getting damage and doing it. So going into next week, Williams are in obviously good momentum. Dito's doing some very, very good work out there at the top. He's probably going to be kicking himself, thinking he could have won that race at the end there. A little bit more ERS, maybe making that move on Plugger. Plugger only had 19% going into turn 4. So he managed to save up quite a lot. How are you feeling with the momentum in the garage, the team in itself, going into a track which is... it's going to be difficult to overtake. It's not going to be easy at Zanderval.
Yeah, I mean, today was tricky from the back. I mean, invalidated my quali lap, which was put me on the back foot straight away, and then got spun, and then got taken out on the straight, which was interesting. And then, yeah, just trying to fight back. I mean, Dito's been doing a great job. I think we've outscored every other team in the last 2 weeks. Mercedes outscoring us today, but we're definitely keeping the fight with them, which is the main goal. So yeah, Zandvoort next week. I love that track. It's one of my favourite tracks. So hopefully better qualifying result and can put it up the front. And not too easy to overtake around there, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you seem to be really enjoying your driving and enjoying yourself. Unfortunately, it's difficult. We know we don't like one shot. A lot of people hate it, but it's obviously back to full quality next week, and you can have the opportunity to get up to the top again.
Yeah, I don't mind one shot, mate. I mean, yeah, fighting from the back. You don't always have to fight for wins and that to enjoy the racing. I mean, that was good today. A couple of incidents, but you get that. It happens, especially around a track like Portimao. So yeah, happy with P6, I think it was, and Dito P2. It's another great week for us. So no, couldn't be happier, mate.
Awesome. Well, no, great job. I know there's no points, unfortunately, but whoever gets the most driver of the days at the end of the season will get an award from Rush Racing League. So keep it up, mate, and maybe one of those people in the drop zone for it.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Well
Take
done,
care,
boys. Thanks.
Lamb, over to P3.
And that was Angus, I believe. Angus, what a race. Fighting the entire time, working well with your teammate, and I believe some of the other cars as well. Just keeping up there, keeping in the fight, and eventually leading to the double Merc podium in P1 and P3. Runners for your race, please.
Yeah, so after the first safety car, we were looking pretty good with our tyres and that. Second one kind of stuffed us over, but yeah, working well with Plugger and I think it was Echo in the Ferrari. He was working really well with us. But other than that, not too much. Pretty clean race.
It definitely seemed like that from you. And like I was saying earlier, the storylines that happened. You had the obviously Plugger and Dito fight, but then there was also you and Plugger versus the kicks of Bolts and Whiff. How was that from your point of view, fighting off the kicks with your team?
Yeah, me and Plugger were working pretty good with all that. We know after the first safety car they had to pit again, so we're not too stressed about fighting with them. I don't know what happened at the end when there was a big collision with them, but it was just an easy overtake for me and got through pretty easy.
And once again, congratulations for bringing home the podium for the Mercs. And I will pass you over to SJ. Once again, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to apologise from my point of view that I didn't think you got P3, so I'm sorry. I do apologise on that. It's not.
It was very close between me and Whiff. I was lucky. I think it was Dido fighting with him, or
not,
Daniel T. Sorry.
it's not a
Yeah,
vendetta,
it's Daniel.
Angus, mate. It's not a vendetta against you at all. No, honestly, great drive. Obviously tonight we saw a lot of battles. A lot of people are saying that 100% are not fun. I tend to disagree on that.
I disagree too. I like them.
They're brilliant. There's so much more to them than a 50% race. Strategy, DRS trains, and we've seen in other 100% races like Abu Dhabi, Vegas, if you do not stay with the pack, then you get gapped. And it's extremely difficult unless you have a safety car, which is obviously safety car is being looked at. Because as you don't know if you heard, there's now the fourth Alpine that have caused a safety car. So that's something we're going to be looking at behind the scenes, but we'll go away from that because that was a great race with you. You worked really, really well with Plugger tonight. You've had a great start to the season. You've been very consistent, scoring good points. How was it out there for you? Because it just seemed you could not make mistakes. It was so close. It was like six of you just joint to the hip. And it was just all about just using the ERS and DRS.
It is one of my more favourite tracks. But yeah, the top six were just not fighting, just working well with each other until it came to the end, I guess, and fucking gloves out.
Yeah, and it was great to see.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Well, I think you've done a phenomenal job. Obviously, I don't want to say too much because obviously the team that I race for is battling you in the constructors and overalls and everything else. Who's got the biggest ego at the moment? It looks like Pep has. But going into Zandvoort, obviously big points for Mercedes again. After a very interesting week, we've got to say it's not been the best of weeks for Mercedes. Obviously struggled in Division 1. Division 2 didn't go down too well. Division 3, obviously you've provided very, very well tonight and got good points, pending obviously penalties. Division 4, very, very strong. And obviously 5, one driver very strong, and then unfortunately what happened in the others. And then obviously Division 6, obviously both cars finishing as well. So all in all, a bit of a mixed week for Mercedes, don't you think?
A little bit. I still think we're running pretty strong. The points speak for themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
But the top 4 teams are going really good. 5, I haven't really been seeing much of 5 and 6. They went pretty good through the week, so I think we're all going pretty good.
You feeling very confident on track at the moment, Angus, when you're going into each race? Because it looks like you've got confidence, you've got the momentum going into each track at the moment. Would you say that that's correct?
Yeah, pretty confident going into, especially Portugal. Like I said, it's one of my favourite tracks, so I was pretty confident for this race, and see how we go next week at Zandvoort. It's not one of my better tracks, so get some practice in, see how we go.
Yeah, it's a tough track. Yeah, just let you know, it's not 100%. All right.
Damn.
It's back to full quality, mate. So no, congratulations on.
I like full quality, anyways.
There you go. Congratulations on the P3. Phenomenal drive, and look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Plugger.
Right, over to you, Lamb, for P2.
All right, over to P2, which is Dido, my TP. Dido, how was your race?
Hectic, man. It was crazy, to say the least.
Crazy,
I don't know. I don't really know where to start, really.
Definitely a bit on the craziest side. Toward the end, we definitely did see the tires, your tires, definitely kick off a little bit, drop off, as we saw a bit of squeamish from the cars whilst fighting Plugger. How was your fight with Plugger? Run us through the timeline that had happened on track.
Yeah, I was quite frustrated, to be fair. I thought I was relatively in control at one point. Strategy was also going to kick into gear before, obviously, the safety cars came in. I didn't know what was going to happen. I started softs. The guys around me didn't. And I had to obviously push the safety car. I had to make the decision to either go long on the mediums or go fast on the softs. And went soft, so managed to get through the guys in front quicker than I expected and bridge that gap again. But the whole time, obviously, I did know I had to pit again and knew where the Mercs were on track. It was a struggle. Obviously with Daniel 2 just getting, it just had just way too much bad luck and too many incidents out of his control. And in that situation, it would have been perfect to have a second car there to help. But that's just how the cookie crumbled, unfortunately. And then in that last sort of stint, I guess you could say I probably did a lot of things wrong. Saved way too much battery way too early, and I honestly, to be fair, mate, I'm not really used to these like last lap battle things. So I just did it wrong. I burnt too early. And yeah, the squirminess on that last lap, I was getting a bit more frustrated trying to get traction out of the corners. I couldn't in that last sort of stint. The fatigue kicks in, I guess, and obviously no traction control. So that there's so many corners on this track that you got to like feather the throttle. Otherwise, you're just spinning, and I struggled a lot with that in practice leading up to this, and luckily didn't spin tonight. But yeah, mate, I'd take a P2. It could have been a P1, but I'm not mad. It was hanging on in the end there, and we were lucky that gap behind us kind of broke open to 3 seconds, and we could just battle. But it could have really gone to anyone in that top 6, and the racing we had in that time frame was just insane and clean. I think we did like 30 laps, separated by 2/10, and that's a lot of commitment and good driving from everyone involved there. It's not just one person driving well. Everyone had to do well there, and unfortunately, a few guys got into incidents and weren't involved in the last battle. But yeah, mate, I'll take a P2.
Yeah, it's a great finish from you tonight. You went from pole to P2. Obviously, it could have gone a little bit better, but like you said, you haven't been in this situation before. So hopefully you can take the little positives out of this and take that on to Zandvoort. As from based off tonight solely, you and Plugger were absolutely going at it those last 3, 4, 5, 6 laps. Hopefully we can get to see that again in Zandvoort, and yeah, I'm hopeful you get to have those experiences again, because from my experience, those are easily the best times on track, is those fun little battles for the wins. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'll
Thank you.
pass you over to SJ, and once again, congrats.
Thanks, mate.
Dado, what a start to the season you're having, mate. It looked like it was plain sailing for you. You were out in front, 4.5 seconds in front on them soft tyres. You did go on to the quicker tyre, which was obviously an interesting strategy because we were probably thinking that those softs are always going to die, and then you're going to go onto the mediums, and people are going to be on the quicker tyre near the end. And unfortunately, the safety car came out. Obviously, it is under investigation at the moment, which is a shame because we don't want to see that. But and then it comes down to the battle with a driver that drove for you last season. We're on the last lap. Take us through the last lap fighting against the driver that drove for you and now drives for a different team. Take us through how you were feeling, and because I did say on turn 4 he only had 19% and you had 55% ERS. So give us a little bit of an insight on that last lap.
Yeah, man. I'll obviously start off full respect for Plugger. He was a great driver when he was at Williams, and he's a great driver now at Merck. I'm full aware. Obviously we got engineers and stuff, but I'm full aware of what Merck come with and what the team bring, and he's got a lot of guys in his ear as well, that are watching the race. So I didn't know. Obviously he had lower ERS. I was under the impression that we were just trying to be behind. I was just trying to be behind him under the last lap. And yeah, I saved way too much. There was about 3 laps prior to the last lap, mate, that I had 100% battery, and I don't know why I didn't do anything with it. I don't know why I didn't, try and, I don't know. But that's something I will take to next week and use, obviously, as experience. And I definitely did a lot of things wrong in that last laps, but at the same time, Plugger did everything right. So, that's what got him the win, and yeah, it will go right to the end. I think this season between us, it's a good rivalry to have, that's for sure.
Yeah, 0.94 at the line. I know it's obviously we had a photo finish in Division 1, which was great to see. It's the first ever photo finish when two cars finish across the line at the same time, which is amazing. Was very, very close. It did look like Plugger nailed that because he used a lot, but then he also harvested a lot on the last couple of corners. And that just gave him that little bit of gap just in front. You were gaining on him a lot, and that is the time to make that make that overtake down there. Stay right behind, follow him in the corner, and try and pin him at the line. But unfortunately, if the guy's got a little bit more ERS than you expect, then it's going to be really hard to see. Which was unfortunate because I probably think that you're a little bit disappointed because you probably thought you had that in the bag. But these things happen,
Oh,
and we learn
absolutely.
from it. But going to just go over the performance of Williams at the moment. Obviously, Daniel T tonight got driver of the day, and I think we've caused World War One in the chat. I see Plugger did say boo. He doesn't agree with it, but I believe we give it to the right person. He got into a lot of drama tonight and pushed himself into P6, which from last
Yeah.
is massive for the
Yeah,
team.
well, I'm not. I could be biased here, of course, but if you've heard, if you actually watched like the whole race and you only were on Daniel T, he got straight line, went back to the grid about 3 times, had to pit twice before he had to pit. I mean, yeah, he got 9 seconds of penalties, but 2 of those penalties were in that accident that he was involved in. So theoretically, he only had 3. So yeah, I mean, people are reading the chats now. People saying I should get it, Plugger should get it. At the end of the day, it's one thing to bring a car home in P1, but you gotta look at it. Could have been easier for him to just quit. He was on painkillers the whole race, trying to finish the race. I couldn't get a reserve, and I was gonna have to run one car, and he put the car on the grid. And then bring home a P6 with a shoulder that he shouldn't even be touching the wheel with. So if you knew the full picture, he definitely deserves driver of the day. But that's all I would say on that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? P1 is probably a lot more easier than getting obviously through the pack. Getting from last to, you've got to get through people on different tires, older tires, different racing etiquette and racecraft. And in P1, it's just swapping DRS between P2. So I'm not taking nothing away from the winner or P2. I'm not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
It's still hard, but that's my reasoning for it. I probably shouldn't really explaining it, but that's the reason. So no, I think it's great momentum going into Williams. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. You've been in this position before. You've won constructors. You've won championships with teams as well. So you've been here before, but this time you're in the limelight now. You've got a real big battle on with Plugger. And you've already said you're going to take it to the end of the season. It looks like there was a few people missing tonight, which is unfortunate. So it'll be hopefully good to see them coming back. We saw a very, very good performance from Velocity. Unfortunately, he did have those pens, but he looks to be one that we'll be having to watch out for. Zandervoort's a track where it's going to be interesting, sector 1, going up that uphill, side by side. You're going to have to be really, really patient and cautious. Very easy to make mistakes, very easy to spin out. How are you feeling going into Zandervoort?
Yeah, probably the same sort of feeling as I was for Portugal. I haven't done much practice there, so it would be one that we will have to get into this week, obviously. But yeah, it's not my best track. It's not my favorite track. It rains there a lot, which I am very hopeful it rains. Obviously, you saw tonight I do like the rain. So yeah, I'm hopeful that every time I've ever raced at Zandervoort, it's rained. So fingers crossed for that, and that will be what I would be focusing on, praying it rains, because I don't think I have the dry pace there. But yeah, as far as it's the team go, mate, we're getting there. And it's still a long season. We'll just pick up where we can keep going. But a lot of names tonight that could have won it. You got both kicks. I mean, they were absolutely. I couldn't even hold them off at one point. They were so quick. But I don't know. It could change and flip on its head tomorrow. So yeah, just before I go, I guess I'd off to everyone involved in that battle at the top, of everyone that committed to the end of the race, and of course Plugger for beating me.
Yeah, he's definitely going to put that on his mental piece and bragging rights. So we'll have to wait and see. But no, congratulations, Dino. Phenomenal
Thanks.
job. Well done on the P2, and look forward to seeing what you can do in Zandervoort next week.
Cheers, bro. Thank you to the comms as well. Thanks, guys.
Right, Lamb, we'll take it over to the winner of Portugal round number 6.
The winner of tonight's race, Plugger in the Merc. Are you here, Plugger?
I am, mate. How are we?
We are good. There was a lot of fighting throughout the whole race from everyone in that top 5-6 pack. At one point, you did have a little bit of end plate damage. How did that affect your race, and how did that what's the word? Yeah, we'll just go with how did that affect your race at the time. Did you think you're still going to come back to a win from that point?
Yeah, end plate damage. Yeah, I went for an ambitious move on bolts and tagged the back a whiff. So thankfully, didn't impact anyone but myself. So no stewards listening, thank you. But yeah, it certainly felt like it hurt. I couldn't turn right very well, but thankfully it's just such a DRS powerful track. So instead of trying to get past Echo, which shout out to him as well, some fantastic teamwork there. Even though he's not on on my team, we worked really well together to try and catch those soft runners. But stayed behind him and kept up, and we sort of ummed and ahed on whether I put some new mediums on or stayed out. But given I wasn't losing the pace to Echo, which kind of 2 races were happening, I guess, because you had, I think it was Dido, Whiff, and Bolts all had to pit again. Like they had to pit again, whereas Echo, Angus, and myself, in theory, could have taken those mediums to the end. So that's what sort of left me to not box. And then thankfully, yeah, the safety car came, and it really cooked Angus though, because we had to double stack with a wing change. So well done to him on getting P3 out of that.
Definitely a big celebrations at Merc tonight with the double podium. Now I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Angus. Walk us through the timelines that happened out there tonight, where you had both the Mercs fending off or fighting, in other words, the kicks. Both of them just one by one, all in the line, fighting it out, truly brawling between the two teams in Div 3 tonight. And then obviously your fight with Dido at the end. Walk us through those, please.
Yeah, the first sort of quarter of the race, Dido, Angus, and myself were all working together with the softs. And then obviously the safety car came out lap 10 or 12 or something, and we both boxed with the medium, so that changed our race up a bit. I actually got caught up in that, so I dropped to P7 or 8 or something under that pit stop, which didn't help, but it is what it is. And then that was sort of that period. Then yes, got the damage, and it was then just a big train between Echo, the kicks. Well, actually, Echo, myself, and I think Angus was on that as well, had to catch up to the kicks. They were 3.5 seconds up the road on the soft tyre, or new soft, and an old set of mediums. So there was that period of time, which was just catch them. And then our tyres got better, and we sort of got past them. And then it was a matter of, right, let's get onto Dido's tail. And then safety car and change things up again. So onto the softs, onto the mediums I went. I took an extra set of mediums. And obviously Dido took the mediums as well. Thought the softs would get through, but it was a bit chaotic. I think lap 45 or lap 43, there was a bit of chaos where there was a bit of contact in front. I got sort of half spun, and Bolts, I think, might have hurt his teammate. Or no, that was, I think, Sutsy spun as well. So a little bit of chaos there allowed the medium runners to not really lose those soft runners at the tail, which meant then it was a fight between the two non-penalties, I'd say. Like Echo sort of dropped off when he got those penalties. And then it was just a battle between Dido and I. And I was on 2 warnings since about lap 10, so I was pretty stressed out, especially when I had wing damage. Trying not to run wide with a broken wing's pretty hard at Portugal. But really well done to him. It was a bit of it wasn't DRS chicken, but games in a way of trying to work out what's he going to want. Does he want the DRS? Does he not? What's the ERS levels at? But essentially, I was just burnt it all on that last straight to get stay ahead with the DRS, and then I think my traction control certainly helped because I got a really good exit into that second DRS area on the last lap. And then once I got that exit, I sort of I knew that from there it was mine to lose, I guess. But yeah, amazing battle with Dito, and you are right, Dito. I think you said you were away, and you were at the start of the race. That safety car certainly changed things up.
Mm. It was a fun fight to watch between, in a way, the student and the master coming to blows for pretty much the last 45 minutes of that race. Just pure action, chaos in a good way, and overall just a great fight to watch. Me and SJ had a blast commentating it, and with that, I'll pass you back over to SJ. And once again, congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for stepping up in the comms too.
Okay, Plugger. Obviously, this is an ongoing thing that we're doing at the moment, talking to you on the podium. I'm going to say you've not had it easy in the last couple of races. I think it's been a bit of a shock compared to obviously probably round 4, where you've obviously done very, very well. And round 5 was a struggle last week with the penalty and trying to make yourself through the pack. Unfortunately, didn't get that podium. Just missed out. This week, again, very, very unfortunate at first. You were very eager going into a corner with one of the kicks, caused yourself damage. I'm going to give yourself a pat on the back, mate, because I turned around and said in the comms that you were going to get a penalty because I thought it was going to be very, very difficult, for the durability to turn the car. And you've done a fantastic job on that. So, yep, I'll give you a round of applause. I'm not going to give you too much of a round of applause, mate. I don't want to give that. I don't want to give that.
I agree, though. I agree, 100%. I thought exactly that.
I was thinking it.
Bouncing off some of these curves,
Mm,
especially trying to turn right, like it's a powerful right-hand track.
yeah.
Corner 1, corner 2, like those right-handers, they were a struggle. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, so I'll give you a big round of applause on that, but that's where it's going to stop for the time being. Because tonight, obviously, your battle was mainly with Echo. You two were just at it from start to finish, and then unfortunately, he was just racking up those penalties, and I think it was just staying behind, using the DRS, and to catch up to the front because the kicks tonight were phenomenal. They were so quick, they worked so well together. Whiff was on 31 lap mediums against your fresh tyres, and the same with bolts. And he was staying with the DRS all the way through until obviously the safety car. And unfortunately, it was his other teammate that got into the mix of that and got damaged, and unfortunately went right to the back. And obviously, I know we've seen you week in, week out. You keep calm. Obviously, you're doing a great job at the moment as a team. And obviously, the way you've been driving has been fantastic. But that last lap, when you were coming up against, you say, Lan was saying, obviously, the professor and student, I would say sensei or master or whatever.
Yeah.
Coming into the turn 1, you burnt a lot of ERS, and on turn 4, you had 19%. How did you manage to harvest all that when Dido was sitting on 56% on turn 4?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough track to overtake, other than those 2 DRS areas, unless you stick your nose in. And I know that Dito's a clean driver, so it was sort of making sure I made the car as wide as I could. But the last 6 laps, I was sort of testing a few things and just seeing where my exit speed was, and I knew that I had a really good exit speed coming into that DRS sector at turn 4. And even coming out of the uphill section there, I had really good exit speed too. So I sort of knew that I just had to stay in front on that main straight, and then yeah, get through from there, and just make sure that we held the front spot. Pep was on engineering duties. He's just messaged me to say give me a shout out, but I wasn't going to, and this isn't related to your message. But he was telling me how much ERS Dito had, so I knew that he probably had about 15% more than me coming into sort of that last sector, which I knew that wouldn't be enough basically to push past me. So yeah, it was sort of, I guess, good, but nerve-wracking at the same time.
We're going to lose a little bit of our imagination, right? And we're going to pretend if this didn't happen. We moved the finish line a little more, couple of yards. You wouldn't have got it. Dado would have pipped you.
Yeah,
So just
he
because
was
just
coming.
because that
Yep.
line is just a little bit further back than normal, you obviously got the win. But honestly, it was a great race. A lot of people have said, we've had mixed comments this week to say that 100% is too long, too boring. There's not much. It's all about DRS, and I do agree. I do agree. I think it is about DRS, but like we saw last night in Division 6, we had no idea who was going to win that race. It completely turned upside down in the last 10 laps. And we saw exactly the same today. That last safety car that came out, obviously, it is under investigation. It just turns everything on its head. What is it from your point of view? Probably the last question I'm going to ask you before we do wrap it up. What is it like comparing a 50% to 100%? Just to give the guys out there that haven't done 100% races, what's the difference between the two? What do you think is the key between the difference between a 50 and 100?
Yeah, they are long races, but at the end of the day, that's part and parcel of the game. The real racers have to race them every week.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I like that little bit of realism about it. But I do, it is hard when you drop down in the field. Like if you have an incident, and these tracks, it's quite easy. The couple of drivers that got blue flags, and as soon as you get lapped, it's that sort of race over, and that's
Yeah.
the hardest part in this game. So yeah, it's whilst I was up front, 100% race is great. But if you're down the back, I can see that that's where it struggle. It's a struggle, but yeah, just a bit of endurance.
Yeah, it does, and I think patience is the key. You're doing a lot more. You're sitting in seat. You're sweating. It's a lot more. You're a lot. You're in the limelight for a lot longer. And if you're battling in a position where you're DRS swapping, you're in a battle between 5 cars. It's a lot more intense. And from what I'm seeing, is what I've seen in 100% races from past seasons to this season, is that if you are in the pack and you are in the DRS train, you're laughing, right? But as soon as you lose that gap, it is impossible to gain it back unless you see a safety car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's 100% right.
Definitely. Going into next week, Zandvoort, completely different track, a very high speed track with some technical corners. How are you feeling? Are you feeling the pressure being about at the front? Because Dido is he's nailing down on you. He's not letting you run away with it. And some of the other guys were missing tonight. The points you're not sailing away with it, but you are consistently scoring points and getting podiums and wins. But are you feeling the pressure at the moment going into Zandvoort?
No, honestly, I'm not. I'm just taking a race at a time. I know that I've got some good pace at the moment. I'm putting in some time and effort, though, a bit of practice, so it's not coming naturally. It's from hard work. So we'll just do the same thing. I like Zandvoort. It's a high downforce track, which I think they suit me. The high wings and the traction control it certainly helps. So I'm looking forward to Zandvoort.
Great. Well, mate, once again, congratulations. Well done on the P1, and look forward to seeing what you can do next week in Zandvoort.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Comms.
No worries. Lamb, thank you ever so much for jumping in the comms box. Your first ever appearance in Rush Racing League. So really appreciate that, mate. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Look forward to seeing you in again, hopefully. It would be great to see you in the comms box again. And just before we close it off, your summary of tonight's race.
Absolutely amazing. Great fighting just throughout it all. Like we were saying earlier, the top 6, all just swapping and swapping and swapping, just fighting everywhere. It was amazing to watch, and I'll definitely be wanting to come back and jump back in the comms, the co-commentator seat again.
Oh, I love that. I love the dedication, mate, and the commitment, and I really appreciate it jumping in. And would anytime have you back in the comments box at any time. So yeah, well done tonight. Also to you guys, well done as well. That was a long night. That is the last 100% of this week. That's it. We're done and dusted. The next one is quite a way away. So it's taken 6 rounds to get to 100% race. It's probably going to take another 6 rounds or 10 rounds now until we get to the next one. I think the next one is Austria at round 12. So there you go. You've got another 6 more rounds to go, which is going to be a phenomenal night. I cannot wait for that. That's my favorite track. And Yeah, I'm definitely going to be practicing that bad boy. So hopefully you've really enjoyed it. It's been a long week of 100% races. It's been mixed. We obviously had the Division 1 Brazil sprint weekend. It was their first sprint weekend of the season. We had a photo finish, ladies and gentlemen. Get on to TikTok and you will see that. That will go up just in the next couple of days between Alpha Gully and Garrus, or aka Jono. Fantastic apps. I've never seen it in my life. I've got photo and it will all go up on stream and obviously the video as well. So get amongst that. Thank you everyone, to all of our viewers as well that followed in tonight, the onboards, everyone that got involved, Panic as well for jumping in as our onboard steward tonight. Really big shout out to him. PXR Racing, thank you very much for the follow. And obviously True Night, stay true to you as well. Thank you very much. Congratulations to Driver of the Day, Daniel T. Congratulations to the podium winners of Plugger, Dido, and Angus, who I thought was with. So I do apologise on that. Big up to all of our sponsors as well. Our main sponsor is AI369. Remember, they are about to launch, so feel free to get into the comments, get amongst the links, and get involved in AI369. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to share it with all of you. And also to our other 3 sponsors of Pagnian, SimLab, and obviously New Zealand only Speed Nation. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. We have the reserve program tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. EDT. It will be Portugal again. You will get to see the opportunity of reserves getting in amongst it. Yeah, it's been an exhausting week, but it's been worth it. And yeah, Lamb, once again, mate, thank you very much for jumping in the comms box and helping myself tonight. You've done a fantastic job. I look forward to seeing you again.
All good, SJ. I'll be happy to come back and join you back in the comms box.
Good man. And I'll give you a quote before we go. Now, Division 3, Plugger has now got 2. Will he get 3 in Zandvoort? Or will Dido come back and take it away from him? We'll see you next time. Good night.